Hello and welcome to Savva Wright live tonight with me, Savva, him, Henry. Henry, I would ask how you are, but we've been streaming together for about 2.5 hours, so I know you are okay. I hope you had a good toilet break. Let's get straight in. Tonight's show, we will talk about, obviously, the match reaction to Tottenham Hotspur and Frankfurt. That will dominate. We will look forward to Everton away, and we'll look at some of the other Champions League results. It's been a very lively one. Henry, let's jump in. Before the game, I said I thought it would be an easy 3-1 win. You said you thought it would be quite tight. Talk us through. You were right in the end. You were right. What did you think of it? What did you make of the win in the end?
Well, first, obviously, we go 1-0 down from a calamity of errors between Hugo Lloris and Dier. That's got to be stamped out. That has to be stamped out of our game. It's 2 errors now in 10 games. 2 errors this season from Lloris. You know, one against Arsenal, one against Frankfurt, both from the same thing. But Dier puts him in a position he shouldn't be in the first place. I think we responded really well after that. You know, Harry Kane plays a lovely ball through. Son tucks it away, just like, you know, the partnership we've watched for the last 5 years. Then obviously Kane wins the penalty. And then you're thinking, right, going to slot this home, go 2-1 up. And then Son's third goal. Great work from Højbjerg. And then a fantastic finish. And then at 3-1 at half time, like, right. I said, if we get a fourth, take Harry Kane. I personally... No, I wouldn't have taken them off at half time. I would have made some substitutions at half time. I would have probably gone to the 3-5-2.
Yeah.
And then obviously second half, they go down to 10 men. That is when we should have brought on Bryan Gil, Lucas Moura, not in the 80th minute. Mm-hmm. You know, maybe taking off Harry Kane, but I'm not going to say it was comfortable, but I thought it'd be a lot more. I mean, at the end, we had some scary last 5 minutes. Yeah, but I thought it'd be a lot more tighter throughout most of the first half. I mean, we could have been 4-5-1 up at half time.
Yeah.
And the second half was a bit mediocre.
First of all, hello to everyone in the chat. It's good so far. We're just approaching to 100 of you. And listen, put your comments in. As always, please subscribe to Savva Talk Spurs. Please subscribe to Henry Wright TV. Both channels doing quite well at the moment. Obviously, I'm nowhere near Henry yet, but please keep subscribing. And any super chats, the money does go to charity. So please keep pumping those through. Something I want to talk about. Hello to everyone, by the way. Something I want to say. Sue Smith, hello, Sue, has said Lloris becoming a real concern. Seems to pull off a major clanger every game now. Every game? Is he a concern?
I think every game's a bit harsh. I think every game's a bit harsh, but you know, he's not doing. He's aging, isn't he? He's not the Hugo Lloris we know of previous times. You know, is he? Let's be honest. He's not. Hugo Lloris never used to really make a massive amount of errors. And now, you know, we're only in October and he's already made 2 big ones that have cost us goals. I think, like I said on the watch long, Kevin Trapp's a player I'd look at to replace. Kevin Trapp's a top goalkeeper.
Yeah, I mean, at some point, Lloris is going to have to be replaced. I mean, we've said that for a few years. I get the feeling that it would have been done a while back had we got a better squad, and that wasn't really a priority. But I mean, other than the mistakes from, let's talk positives, Henry. We went 1-0 down, and a lot of the time this season we have seen, haven't we, that we've kind of needed to go down to start
second
playing.
Half, or we've been second half FC in the second half of that game. We looked shocking.
Right. But look, we went 1-0 down, and then we decided that we were going to have a 15-minute period where we actually realised we're the home team and we're a Champions League team. Talk me through the goals. What did you think? Was it a penalty on Kane?
Yes, 1,000,000%. 1,000,000%. He gets past him, and the player just barges straight into him, and then Harry Kane's penalty. Thought Kevin Trapp, you know, I thought he nearly got there, but I look back on the replays, the power beats him. And then you look at the Harry Kane's passing to Son for the first goal is out of this world. Absolutely ridiculous pass.
A couple of lovely passes tonight.
And then his third goal, I mean, I don't know what the goalkeeper's doing, but Son, that's a lovely finish. We going 3-1 up, and you're thinking, right, let's go and get a few more. Let's get our goal difference better. Let's go and hammer them. Yeah. And we kind of took a foot off the pace.
Yeah.
But Heung-min Son today, he needs to be doing that more often now. We've seen you do it against Leicester. We've seen you do it against Frankfurt. Let's go and put a few guys past Everton. Let's then go and put a few guys past United. Let's get a run going, because he can't be doing it one game there and then not doing anything for 3 games, and doing it another game and then not doing anything.
I've just had Will Stewart message me saying that the game was under complete control until Son came off. I don't understand how this Son cult can align everything to Son. I don't think the game towards the end got sloppy. I don't think it was because Son came off. For me, if you keep going defensive, even against 10 men, you're going to invite pressure. You've got to expect that.
Of course.
It's
the way it is. You know, the more you take attacking players on, put defensive players on, you've got nothing going forward. So,
right. Let's talk about that, Henry. I mean, look, the first goal from Son, lovely finish. The second goal from Son was even more spectacular. That's the story of Son this season. We've seen him now score 4 or 5 magnificent goals. Yeah. And then we've seen him have some real shocking games. Can this be the game now that sparks him into form? Because I said it after Leicester, and then it didn't happen. Can this be the game now that we start to see the real Heung-min Son?
So what's he got? 5 and 13?
He's got, in all competitions, he's played 9 league games, 4 Champions League games. Yeah, 5 and 13. Not the end of the world, but he scored in 2 games. But I want to see him kick on now, mate. I want to see, against Everton, go and grab another couple. Play yourself into form. Do you know what I mean?
Do you think, like, signing Richarlison has kind of ruined Heung-min Son?
I mean,
because knowing there's competition would naturally lift your game, wouldn't it? But it's done the opposite with Son.
Yeah, I mean, it's a difficult one, isn't it? I mean, what we haven't seen enough this season for me is the trio of Son, Kulusevski, Kane that we know works so well. However, for me, it shouldn't really have an impact because they play on different flanks. But look, when he finishes like that, look, again, I'll be honest. If we're being completely honest, his all-round game tonight again was poor, I thought, but lovely finishes. Kane in the first half, apart from the pass, his all-round play wasn't great. Same second half, really, but he did pick out a few really key passes. So both of them are not what you would say firing on all cylinders. But I would really like to see him kick on. And let's talk about Richarlison. And look, guys, I will invite people into the chat. I will put the link in soon. If anyone does want to come on, feel free to come on and tell me and Henry your point. Please come on, make your point, and then we will let you go, just so that other people have a opportunity. So Richarlison, Henry, and everyone in the chat, tell me, what did you think of Richarlison tonight? That's now... He's played in 13 of our 14 games. So I think he was suspended for the Southampton game. He scored a couple of headers against Marseille. What have you made about the rest of his...
He's got an assist against Forest. He got an assist. He won the penalty against Arsenal, which counts as an assist now. 4 goal contributions in 13. For a player that's gone from being the main man in a small pond, big fish in a small pond, to a small fish in a medium-sized pond.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say we're a big pond, but I just want it. The only way he's going to really excel is if he plays through the middle. And he's not going to do that. He's never going to play in the middle over Harry Kane. I'd probably give him a 5 out of 10. Maybe, well, probably 5.5. Maybe a 6. Because I think against Fulham, he was excellent. He just did everything but score. He worked really hard. I gave him man of the match that game. I was there. I thought he was brilliant. Obviously, hit the post, scored an offside goal. I'd probably give him a 6. You know, it's kind of he hasn't set the world alight. He hasn't been god awful. You know, he has actually put the ball in the back of the net. He has won us a game with 2 headers, but we want to see more. Him playing on the wing, he's never going to excel on the wing. He's a striker.
Yeah.
So unless Harry Kane gets an injury, it's when we're going to really see him come in. He'll come in and start scoring goals when it's against in the FA Cup and League Cup against a lower rated teams when we can rest Kane and Son.
Do you rate him? Do you rate him as a player?
I like Richarlison, yeah. I know a lot of people don't.
Yeah.
But
I just don't know what he does. I don't see what he does in a game that I'm thinking, right, that's why we went and bought him as a priority.
Well, he kept Everton up last year. His goals kept them up, right? So when he was at Everton, he was a vocal point going forward. Yeah. He's coming to a team where we've got 2 20-goal season strikers.
Yeah, of course.
So he's not expected to get goals in our team. He's not expected to get 20 goals in our team. He's expected to come in and just contribute. And he's contributing, just not at the level we want. He doesn't. He's not an XL dribbler. He's not a Neymar, Vinny Jr. You know, Bryan Gil's a better dribbler than him. Bryan Gil's probably the best dribbler at Tottenham. Like, you saw him today. I haven't seen Human Son put anyone in a pretzel in the last couple of years. He's done that. And I feel like I'm not bigging Hill up because we know he's shit, right? But
the thing is Bryan Gil? Listen, I don't think Bryan Gil is great.
I've seen more meat on a chip.
Yeah, true, but there's a difference between being small and being shit, right? There's a huge difference. Technically, he's a very good player. Are you surprised that at no point then that Spurs have tried to bulk this lad up, or do you think he's just one of them builds where
looks like he's put on about 5-6 kilos? He looks like he's bulked up, but is that down to themselves getting their own PT, or is that down to the club? Because if you look at like Bayern Munich, every single one basically eats fucking meat, lunch, breakfast, and dinner, and they all put on 5-6 kilograms a month or a season. With us, we haven't really ever had anyone come in and Harry Kane has, but you always see him working out of his PTs. Yeah, you never really see him in the club gym, like really, really pushing himself. Like you do at Man City. You see like videos of Aguero, used to see him in the club gym. You never really see that. So like, I don't really know what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, look, listen, this is where, again, just talking about it, everyone said the reason we went for him, right, was because, so not Hill, Richarlison again, that he can play anywhere across that line. But now the narrative seems to have changed of, well, look, he's not that player. He plays through the middle. Do you think that if he played through the middle where Kane is, he would be much better than we're seeing?
Yeah, 100%. He'd score goals.
But what's the likelihood we're ever going to see that unless there's a Harry Kane injury?
Unless we go to a 3-5-2.
Right. And even if we go to a 3-5-2, he's never going to pick Richarlison over Son or Kane, is he?
Well, unless there's an injury, you're absolutely spot on. He's never going to.
Right.
Right. I feel like with like, what was the point of signing a player who's never really going to get into our 11 over our players? It's a good option. Don't get me wrong; it's a fantastic option to have off the bench. But
absolutely.
Go on.
Just so you know, guys, just while we're doing the Spurs portion of the show, there's 175 of you in the chat, so welcome to each and every one of you. There's only 36 likes and 175 people. Liking is absolutely free, so I'm guessing that 140 of you do not like this show. So thank you either way. Any super chats, as you know, the money does go to charity, so please keep pushing on. And the dream team of Savva and Henry Wright are here again. I've put the link in the chat, so if anyone does want to come on and have their say, please come on. But when we let you in, please have your camera on and have a point. Don't just sit there. Have a point that you want to bring up and that you want to debate. King Monkey, big up, mate. I hope you are well. I really, really hope you're well. Henry, were you surprised? 3-1 up at home against 10 men, and his first 3 subs are 2 defensive midfielders and a centre-half. Now, what I know is some people will say that sorry, my screen went a bit funny there. Sorry, some people will say, well, he was taking off the players with the yellow cards. Other people will say, Well, hang on. Why are we 3-1 up at home to 10 men and it's not Hill, Spence and Lucas coming on first? Why is it negative? What do you make of that dynamic?
Well, you look at our bench. What attacking options have we got? So we've got Lucas Moura, Bryan Gil, Perisic. That is it out of all our 11 players. So he probably should have brought on Bryan Gil and Lucas Moura as soon as they got their man sent off. Like the end of the game, the end of the scoreline makes it look like the end of the second half was tight. It was only really the last 10 minutes they went for it. We were in complete control.
Yeah.
Coasting. But he should have made those subs earlier.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't get why are we bringing on a centre back? We're 3-1 up.
Yeah. I mean,
if it was for Romero, because you're resting your better player for Everton, like I would get taking Kane and Son off and bringing on Bryan Gil, Lucas Moura, and then put Richarlison through the middle.
Yeah. I mean, something like Rovshan has said here is Bissouma is nowhere near Pierre and Bentancur. Very shaky, error-making footballer at the moment, not at Brighton. Is that a bit harsh, considering that Bissouma seems to be coming in, getting half an hour, then he's dropped, then we don't see him for a few games, then is it hard to not get any real consistency?
Well, yeah, that's the thing, because we're kind of chopping and changing, but that's what we all wanted it to be, a squad game. We all wanted it to have
Shahar, are you there?
Yes.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good.
Good. What did you want to say, my man? What did you want to say?
Okay. Bryan Gil is the fucking GOAT.
Someone's put you up to that, haven't they?
No. He's Maradona. Bryan Gil is Maradona.
I'll let him go. I can't be dealing with that. If anyone does want to join and has a sensible point to make, please, the link is in the chat. Sorry, Henry, you were saying we were talking about Bissouma. Unlucky that he comes in, then he's not playing again, then he gets 20 minutes here, 20 minutes there. Is it unfair for us to judge him against Bentancur and Højbjerg?
Is it unfair? With Bryan Gil, is it unfair? Yeah, I mean, a question I have to everyone is, right, does Bryan Gil excel at any? Does he excel at any attributes? The only one you say he's pretty good at is dribbling, right?
Yeah.
Is he ever going to get in our front line? No. However, can he be an impact player? Yes. But he's never going to get game time. He's going to get 5-10 minutes there, like he just did there. We need to. If we would have brought him on at maybe at maybe around the 60th minute when we went down to 10 men, it would have been a completely different game. But what do you think of Bryan Gil?
I feel for him because I feel that he was bought for Nuno, but who didn't really have a style.
Sorry, was you talking about Bryan Gil or Bissouma then? I thought you said
Bissouma originally.
Oh right, yeah. I've realised what you said now. Bissouma and Højbjerg. Did you say you feel like he's not getting the same amount of game time as Højbjerg and Bentancur?
Well, Sam, Rovshan came in and said that he's not as good as the other two. Looks shaky when passing and that. But I just feel it's difficult to judge him when the other two play week in, week out, and he hasn't. Yeah, he hasn't had two starts back to back.
Yeah, he's never really had the opportunity to build up momentum or anything. His go-to guys are Bentancur and Højbjerg, but Bissouma offers us a different dynamic. He's probably the better dribbler out of the three. You'd probably say the better defensive-minded player is probably maybe Bentancur, and the best at occasionally going forward is Højbjerg. But we're never really going to see it all because we don't play an attacking formation. The thing with Bissouma is, what did we sign him for? If he's not going to get any game time, why did we sign him?
I agree. Just quickly, we've got a super chat from Azid Hamid. Thank you very much. That money does go to charity, as you all know. He said, that's right. There is the difference between Lewandowski and Kane. everything on the line, and the former delivers. I'm not sure where that's come from, but okay, thank you. Yeah, Lewandowski grabbed himself a brace today. I think Harry Kane got a goal and assist. I'm not really sure of the point you're making, but thank you very much for the super chat. 2 world-class strikers for sure, those two.
Who would you have out of the two?
Which team am I supporting? Spurs?
Just in general. As a number 9, who are you taking?
As a number 9, I'm taking
if you're Man City, right, and you could put Haaland or Lewandowski up front, who are you putting?
Haaland or Lewandowski?
Sorry, Kane or Lewandowski. And all you want them to do is score goals.
Oh, mate. And I can see there's 2 people in the background waiting to come and ask a question. I'll get you on in a second. Oh, mate, I don't know. Lewandowski's one of my favourite forwards. He finishes his dinner for fun. Harry Kane, I'm going to go with Kane because otherwise I'll get absolutely slaughtered in here. But I don't think there's a lot between them finishing-wise. I really don't. I really don't.
Not. I mean, Kane's probably better all round, and you might say Lewandowski is probably more clinical.
Mm-hmm.
I think, guys.
Absolutely. Hi there, guys. Right, listen, I'll get your question. We'll have a debate. When I kick you off, please don't take it personally. Aravind, welcome to the show. What did you want to say, my man?
Again, the thing is that against these teams, I want us to dominate the possession better, play better football and score some goals. Yes, results-wise, we are top of the table. We are doing well in the league as in terms of the results, but in performance, I don't think I don't rate this performance. I would say it's an average performance by the team. You're 3-1 up. You should be trying to score the 4th or 5th, and too much dependent on 2 players to score week in and week out.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, in terms of if we look at the stats from the game, I mean, look, again, it can depend on which source you use. I always use my score app. They reckon Spurs had 51% to Frankfurt's 49, 12 attempts to their 11. And then if we look at completed passes, 408 to 386. Would you say, Aravind, that for a team that was playing at home against 10 men when 3-1 up, that you would have thought we would have had a lot more of the ball than that?
The thing is that Conte's system depends a lot on our wing backs, but our wing backs are really horrible in the left and right. Sessegnon, when he gets the ball, he's very shaky. He's not able to do anything in the final third. He should have scored a goal. Emerson Royal, we already know what type of player is. He's not good enough. Again, he's doing silly mistakes. So when we have, and Bentancur and Højbjerg are not creative players. They like to sit down and get the defense, and we can see why he's playing both of them, because even Eric Dier is not good with the ball. So I think so there are quality issues which is being dealt into the team, which we're not able to dominate possession. But I would still say that's not an excuse. We were 3-1 up, and it was not even against 11 men, against 10 men, half an hour. I didn't know why Skip came on. We should have played a Mora, a Bryan Gil, put in, just finish off the game and do something. And I would actually take, as much as Kane was playing well, I would have actually taken off Kane this match at the 68th minute, bring on Richarlison, play him in the middle, and see what he can offer.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, I mean, Richie, let me bring you in here. Welcome back, mate. I hope you're well. Richie, I'm going to ask you about this comment before I ask what you wanted to talk about. I mean, so Greg Spurs said, sorry, we're a few windows away from dominating teams in the Champions League. But Richie, it wasn't like we were playing Bayern Munich tonight. We were playing a very average Frankfurt team that for 35 minutes in the second half had 10 men when we were 3-1 up. Is it getting a bit silly how the excuses for us not dominating games like that are that we don't have the players to do it? That can't be right, can it?
It is. It's getting very frustrated now, man. They were down to 10 men, and we had numerous chances to kill that game. And I think, leading back to that super chat that person made between Harry Kane and Lewandowski, I think what he was trying to say is that Harry Kane misses that penalty Whereas in clutch moments, Lewandowski would 100% score that and kill that game off. We were under pressure unnecessarily in the last couple minutes there because Harry Kane looks tired, man. He looks beat. He needs to be rested. He needs to be rested, man. And I don't know. This is why we brought an elite manager in. He should have the balls to rest Harry Kane. That's what you have to do, bro. You know, so a lot of these players are getting way, way too overplayed, you know. So, but back to what I'm trying to say, though, is that a team like Frankfurt, we should be beating them bad. But it's the same thing we've been seeing all season, man. Nothing changes. Nothing changes with Conte too, man, because again, he starts Emerson Royale again, man. It's so painful to watch this guy play, man. It's so painful, man. I can't believe. I would rather play Ben Foster there, bro, than play this guy there, bro. Seriously, man. I just Fraser Foster, whatever his name is. I would rather play there than play him there, man. But we're gonna come up against tougher oppositions, and the things that Emerson are doing, the sloppy passes and everything, we're gonna get punished, man. We're gonna get punished because that second goal all came from him stupidly giving away the ball. Stupidly. And I'm worried, man. I'm worried about how far more we're gonna go in this tournament.
Sorry to interrupt. I just want to say this point. Like, everyone is keep on saying that Kane is not droppable or Son is not droppable. Okay, I understand they are top players, but we got Richarlison for 60 million euros. So I'm pretty sure we should trust him in some moment, some games where if you're saying he can play in the middle three, I would want Conte to take off Kane and put him in the middle. Just give. Let's see what he can do in the middle. Because we can't keep on giving this excuses that Richarlison can't replace Kane. Okay, I'm not saying that he needs to replace every game, but give him the chance. Yesterday, City dropped Haaland and they're playing Alvarez in the middle. Why can't we do the same? Okay, I agree with this game is important, but there's not an excuse. We can't keep on going game in and game out and say that Kane and Son are not droppable. Even they're aging, and I can see year by year, game by game, that pace is getting their pace in the game has been affected really well because Harry Kane's mental footballing intelligence is so good that he's able to find passes and find different players. He's able to sustain, but his game itself is not the 2016 Kane. And I would actually give them let's give them the chance. Let's see what they can do. They signed a 60 million player, and I do believe in Richarlison. For me as a person, I trust in him. He's doing bits and pieces for in the Brazil team. He's able to score goals. Why can't he score for Spurs if he's playing in the middle? We need to give him this chance. I trust him.
Yeah,
I agree with you.
It's definitely an interesting one. I think that the thing is where I agree is Henry and I were talking at half time and the watch along. We said, look, we're 3-1 up. At what point can you turn around and go, right, we've got Everton at the weekend. We can rest Kane. You know, at what stage can we say, even Son, at what point can you go, Kane and Son can come off and you can put on Mora, Perisic, Hill, whoever. But then we just sort of, the second half, I don't know. I was expecting us to come out, and I was expecting us, if I'm really honest, to batter them. I was expecting us to come out and really dominate, you know, against 10 men, have all the ball, get them camped in their area. And it never came. And that's why I don't buy the excuse of we don't have the players. Well, against 10 men, because they weren't very good against 11 men. Right? So, I mean, Richie, obviously you've joined the show. What did you want to say? What did you make of it all?
Man, I thought the first half we started off pretty poorly, man. And it's like I said to you before, like it's just the same thing over and over. We're seeing again, like my frustration. I know, like I'm just trying to scapegoat him, but my frustration solely is like I want to know what tactical thing Conte instructs Emerson every single game that Jet Spence cannot do on that football field. What is it that what's so special? about Emerson that he can do on that football pitch that Jet Spence cannot do. I just, for the life of me, man, I can't fathom that what it is, because I can't see anything this guy can do on the pitch, man. It's just the same old, bro. It's the same old, and I don't know. Well, we need to change these. You know, it's not heading good. I know we will. The fans will say, "Hey, you know what? At least we won again. We won again." So it doesn't really matter. But when are these performances are going to be coming into question, man?
Richie, I think the thing for me is, look, again, look, I'm very vocal, as everyone, as 185 people in here, they all know. And I'm sure this isn't the first time people are watching me, that they all know I'm very vocal about the football I like watching and how I want to see us play. However, I understand that we can't play free-flowing football. We don't have the players. What I can't understand, though, is how we have to play that defensive and that negatively against teams like Frankfurt, who are average, and against 10 men. Now, the bigger issue for me here is, it's okay doing it against them. It's okay playing like that against Frankfurt, like against Leicester, against Nottingham Forest. But my worry is every time we come up against a top team, this tactic isn't working this season. So I'll enjoy it. I'll take that win. We're top of the group. But it does somewhat concern me. I'm just going to say that. I'm not, again, for anyone in the chat, I'm not saying Conte out. I just don't understand the kind of negative approach to his in-game management. I don't get it. What do you think, Richie? That's
the thing, though. Like, you can critique Conte without wanting him out. Like, you can critique some of the things he's doing. But it's like with our fan base, as soon as you critique him, it's like they take it as like you want him out. No, we don't want him out. We want him here. You know what I mean? But we just want to see better performances. Performances like what we were seeing at the end of last season, man. You know, the performances are just flat. They're slow. They're boring.
Well, Swanwick said the performances are getting better. I mean, let me, Henry, you're back. Let me ask you: are the performances getting better? We're grinding out wins. We're grinding out results. We're third in the league. We're top of the Champions League group. But are the performances getting better?
No, I don't think they massively are. I just think we've got match winners. I think without Kane and Son, we'd be in a massive world of trouble. You look at even individual performances. The only player that's probably been good for performance-wise, I probably would say, is Højbjerg. Everyone else has kind of been on even ropes. Bentancur looks excellent, and the next game he looks good, not the excellent game. Son, obviously, besides the Leicester game in the league, he hasn't really set it alight. I think when Kulu got injured, I feel like the next game after that we played, it would have been, it wasn't Forest, it was the one after Forest. It was what? Who did we play before Arsenal?
Wasn't it Frankfurt? No,
the Premier League game we played before Frankfurt.
Leicester, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's the game. Is that the game you got injured in? Isn't it?
Oh, no, mate, I can't. There's so many games at the moment. I can't remember who's done what and where.
When Kulu's not in the team going forward, we just look at a completely different outlet. Performance wise, I don't think we've had Nottingham Forest away as a team was a good performance. Leicester was a good performance, but Wolves, Chelsea, West Ham, Arsenal, we've struggled. Southampton, we haven't really had like 3 or 4 really good performances in a row. I mean, you could say fixtures congested. You know, playing a game every 3 or 4 days is hard because you're constantly chopping and changing the team due to the fixtures. You're bringing in, 1 minute Lenglet, the next minute Davis, the next minute Emerson, the next minute Doherty, Sessegnon, Perisic. We're constantly changing, but we are third in the league. We're top of the Champions League group. There's a lot of things to be positive about. I believe the performances will come. It's just, we need to just do better collectively as a unit.
Okay, Richie and Aravind, I'll ask you this question, then I will have to let you go so other people can come on. Do you guys think though that it's all good? We're getting these results, and as fans from a results business, we can't complain. If people don't like the football, then absolutely you're allowed to complain because that's an individual preference. Do you think, from your 2 point of view, that what we've got to do is we've got to win against a proper good team, like a Man United, like a Man City, a Liverpool, a Chelsea, to actually get more buy-in from people such as myself who are very skeptical of the way we play?
I think so. The weekend now, I want to see how we perform against United in a week, and that would give us a better, I wouldn't say a sample, but a decent sample to see how we are performing against the top 6 teams who have been doing really well. So that would give an idea. But generally, I don't know whether our performance is getting better. It depends upon what changes we make or what we get in the January window, if we do anything. I still don't think this would be sustainable in the long run unless we do anything in the window.
Yeah.
Okay, Richie.
Yeah, I think, like with me, I don't think I'm gonna ever buy into this way that we're playing right now, this counter-attacking way, with or without even if we win like a trophy at the end of this, and that's not even guaranteed. You know what I mean? I don't think this formation, the way that we play, I don't think it's sustainable, man. Because you take Kane, Son, and Kulusevski out of this system, and it collapses. It's not a proper system. It's not. I don't even think it's a system. It's literally like put 10 people behind the ball, long ball, straight over the top, Son in, he scores. That's practically what it says. And we're paying this guy 20 million. I don't know how much money we're paying him to provide this sort of football. So I don't think it's sustainable. And I don't think no matter who we beat Man City last season and everything. I don't think I'm going to ever buy into this cowardice football, man. That's just me personally.
No, listen, guys, thank you. Listen, I really appreciate your opinions. I'm gonna let you go, but thank you for tuning in, and you're always welcome back on again.
Thank you for having me, man.
No, absolutely, my pleasure. Thank you, Henry. Just quickly, I've got Stefan in the back. We'll get him in a minute. Just before we do, Henry. I mean, look, it's funny, isn't it? Because you know what, like you said, and you put me in my place with this, right? Third in the league. Top of the Champions League group. Then the flip side of that is, well, I would expect to be top of that Champions League group because it's not the most difficult. And the league, I'm a believer that, look, we're nine games in. Let's have that conversation when we're 20, 25 games in, and let's see where we are. Why are some people still? It doesn't feel like we've won a Champions League game. Like forget my opinion. Lots of people in the comments, it feels like it was almost as though we didn't win from the way people are talking. Why is this, Henry?
Sorry, just quickly, Ron's comment. Henry was praising Harry Kane for being the best penalty taker in the world. I did, didn't I? And then he missed the same bloody game. Your comment about why are we still being? Why does it feel like we haven't? What did you say? You feel like we haven't after Champions League game?
No, just like we've won, right? We all know we've won the game.
The mood in the fan base.
Yeah, it just kind of feels like I remember when we were in the Champions League groups, not even with Poch, if I'm honest, because I thought we were terrible in the Champions League groups with Poch. When we were in the Champions League groups with Redknapp, it kind of felt like after those European nights, there was that buzz. And it was like, yeah, look at what we've just done. And the football, at the moment, it just feels a little bit like...
It's because the style of football.
Is that all it is?
We're getting results, and football is a results business. So... You know, we're doing what we should results wise, but some of the performances have been a bit. You know, you're on a knife edge. I feel like if the performances were better, everyone would feel. After that Leicester game, because it was a good performance, everyone was buzzing. After that, Son got a hat trick. Everyone's singing about Antonio. Everyone was in a good mood. I feel like because the performances haven't been what we were expecting, everyone's kind of. A bit. Even yourself, you've been on edge quite a lot of time, thinking, we need better. And I feel like unless we, start dominating games possession wise, we're always going to kind of feel like this.
Yeah, I agree. I absolutely agree. Let me just quickly do a super chat. Chris Cranston, thank you very much. Always appreciated, and it does go to charity. So if anyone else does want to do that, please feel free. He said, big up, boys. The Emerson situation is becoming a joke. At least 2 vital defensive errors tonight. Conte sabotaging himself, not playing Spence. Crazy. Thank you. Yeah, listen, for me, I don't even think it's about Spence because I don't feel like I can judge Spence without seeing him. But it does feel strange to me that I thought Doherty came in. I thought he had a solid game against Brighton. I thought he actually joined in well with the attack. And then we get to the next game and it's, I must get Royal back in. Let me bring in Stefan. Obviously, look, Stefan, you're an Arsenal fan. So welcome to you. Did you watch the Spurs game tonight? And just before, I was going to say you're on mute. Did you watch the Spurs game tonight?
I did actually. I watched it fully. I just think, honestly, from an Arsenal perspective, and just from another team perspective, I think the day that Kane and Son leave, I think Spurs fans will truly appreciate how good they were and how valuable. Because honestly, you guys are gonna say this is an Arsenal perspective. If you take these 2 players out of your team, I would say even with Richarlison and Kulusevski still in the team, you guys are a I would say maybe 10th, 9th in the Premier, because they are just, even tonight, even though Frankfurt scored, the first chance you guys had immediately after the goal, Son puts away. Even though it was, and again, brilliant pass from Kane, Son is immediately clinical and lethal. So I just think that while you have Kane and Son, you have no right to not make Champions League. And I really think that some of the whole squad before was poor. You had players like Harry Winks. Now you have, better players. But tonight, especially, I was expecting you guys to batter Frankfurt. I thought Frankfurt, I've watched them a couple of times in the Bundesliga. They're not a very good side. They finished 12th. I know they won the Europa League, but at best, I think they're an upper tier Europa League side. So I expected, but I was just surprised at how kind of, I wouldn't say timid, but the second half performance, I thought you guys would go, but it's Conte. So that's him. He puts on 3 defensive. I think he put on Skip and Bissouma after, I think in the 60th, 70th minute. I don't remember when. Yeah. And he just wanted to close out the game, which I get. And they scored. So I understand why Conte is so cautious, because behind Kane and Son, even though Højbjerg played really well tonight and Bentancur, they're just good. They're not really good, or they're not Premier League winning level. And then your defense, when are Spurs fans gonna realize about Eric Dier? He's just, from an opposing fan, I just don't get why. When I read some Spurs accounts saying that he should make the England team, and he's better than Connor. I don't know, to be honest.
I don't think he is better than Connor Cody, if you're going to say that. I don't think he is.
He's more physical, but they're just both just distinctly average. And Dier, before Conte came, let's not forget that Mourinho season, he would make a mistake every game. And tonight he made a key mistake again. And of course, bailed out by Kane and Son again. So
no, absolutely.
So, but for me, it was good. It was a good. You won. That's the most important thing, and that's what Spurs fans need to change. I think I read some of the accounts, and I read some of the Spurs journals about this Spurs DNA bullshit. Yeah, Spurs DNA hasn't won you anything for 40 years. You need to actually change that. Even though Arsenal, we've always been famous for playing beautiful football. Would I have wanted Wenger, for example, in the Champions League final when we were leading 1-0? You know what? I wish Antonio Conte was our coach. He would have closed shop in the second half, put 10 men behind the ball that game, and we would have won a Champions League. But that's not Wenger. So there.
Hey. Listen, I hear you. Let me bring in Hassan, and then Kuva, I'll come to you. So welcome, lads, to the show. Hassan, 3 points. All got a little bit Spursy at the end there. What did you make of it? Were you comfortable? Were you feeling worried towards the end?
First 15 minutes I was worried, and then up until the 80th minute, I wasn't worried.
Right.
I thought Frankfurt, I mean, were kind of useless, to be honest, apart from that first Eric Dier mistake. They didn't really pose any issues to our to Lloris, bar a few shots and that final 15 minutes. So, yeah, it was comfortable until then. And obviously, he made those substitutions because, well, one, you got to give our players a rest. I mean, Højbjerg, Bentancur's on a yellow card, so you don't want him getting sent off. And I guess he just wanted to get more control, or at least just not let them get any more attacks in with the three in midfield. And and when you have Sanchez and Emerson Royale on one side, it's a recipe for disaster. And that's what happened. Dodgy passing between the two. Lloris palmed out a ball which he really should have just caught, and we conceded. And I think it was Emerson who missed the header as well when he was trying to defend that. So, yeah, final 10 minutes was nervy. And if that's not a summary of a Tottenham fan, I don't know what is. But
I make you right. Listen, Hassan, I absolutely make you right. I'd be interested, Kuva, to know. I think lots of Spurs fans were predicting this battering. We're going to batter them. And then in the end, it ended up being a very close game without Frankfurt actually having to do a lot, right? Is that fair? It's not like they were in it. They were very average, and yet we've allowed them to get back in the game and still only matched their possession. Even though they had 10 men.
It was a failure tonight, isn't it? Because we failed to be Spursy no matter how much we tried.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I think summed up already. That opening 20 minutes, shocking. We looked like the away side. They looked a much better team than us. We hadn't even had a shot at that point when they took the lead, and then carried on until we scored, let's face it, totally against the run of play.
Yeah.
And then that transformed the game for us. Then it became all about Sonny and Kane.
Kane and Son. Kane and Son.
Yeah, they basically bailed us out. Could have had a few more goals as well, and still found a way to let Frankfurt back into it. Let's face it, was anyone amongst us who in that 94th minute didn't take a sharp inhale of breath with that long-range strike coming in. It was just like going for a mind straight away. That's going inside the post.
Yeah,
it would have been typical, but got away with it. I think rather than concentrating on the bad errors in defence, you've got to say we were again sloppy in front of goal when we could have had easily had some more goals. That last minute sort of drama wouldn't have happened if we'd gone 5 up like we should have.
I thought we were really comfortable as well. I honestly thought I think like Hassan summed it up beautifully. I think we started terribly, then we were comfortable right until like the 80th minute, and then we just did we went Spursy. And Kuva, the thing for me, and obviously I was just having a disagreement with Stell and Will about it in a group, is for me I couldn't understand I know. I couldn't understand the need. 3-1 up at home against 10 men, and your first three substitutions are 2 defensive midfielders and a centre back. And I'm thinking, come on, if ever there was a game where we can't use the excuse of the lack of quality and no technicians, it's this. And for me, he let us nearly get punished for it at the end. For me, that was him shutting up shop at 3-1 at home. I didn't get it. What did you make of it?
That is typical Conte, though, isn't it? He said this when he first arrived. He said, "Don't expect the fireworks. If I want to see the game out comfortably, control is what he's all about." So I think he was looking at it 3-1. It's easy. Take the foot off the accelerator. Save the battery a bit for the weekend. Rest a few of the key players. And just see the game out comfortably. Thing is, some of our players just aren't up to the job, are they? There's mistakes happening, and it gets costly, and we got away with it a bit there. But I could see the reasoning behind it. I don't necessarily agree with it. I agree we should have just gone for a few more goals because that makes the group more comfortable. because it could come down to goal difference, couldn't it? And if that's the case, it's going to be a shame if we finish second in the group because we didn't put a few more away tonight. That could make a big difference. Not that I think we're going to win it anyway, but I mean, actually, maybe it is better to finish second and then just pull out one of the big boys in the next rounds. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. Listen, let me just quickly before I come back to Henry, Asan and Stefan. So I'm going to keep rotating people. So sorry, not being rude, but I am going to let you go and get some more people in. But thank you for coming on and giving your opinion. I will do another phone-in show Friday. So I will catch you then. But thanks, guys. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. See you.
Cheers, guys. Bye-bye. Just quickly, we've got a super chat from Chike. Chike, big up to yourself. Always see you in Henry's chat, so thank you very much for that. I think this is the same Chike. He said everyone's prediction for Liverpool versus City. If you don't mind, I am going to save your super chat and read it out a bit later when we get off of the Tottenham subject. So I'm not going to ignore this. We are going to do a piece on this, but just not at this second. Henry, again, I want to go to these substitutions. Now, lots of people are saying this. Like, Dier was on the yellow, that's why he changed him. All right, I get that. But the two midfielders, the centre-half, you're 3-1 up at home. Why did he then go to a three-man central midfield to shore up against a team playing two centre mids, away from home, losing 3-1, down to 10 men? I can't, just me, I can't work it out because I think that put us in trouble.
No, it makes no sense. If we would have made the substitution of Lucas Moura and Bryan Gil immediately after having that red card, and rest the likes of Kane and Son, and brought in another midfielder, people forget you can make 5 subs. You could have taken off. I don't personally. I think if we would have put an extra man in the midfield, probably kept Son on, taken Kane off, put on Bryan Gil and Lucas Moura, taken off either Dier Romero and put on Sanchez, would have nullified their threat because all their threat come from midfield.
Yeah,
I mean, Frankfurt are a good side. They're not a great side. It's mind blowing how they won the Europa League last year. Looking at the state of the team now,
I think they've lost a few, haven't they?
They've lost a couple of players.
They definitely don't look like the Frankfurt I watched. When I watched them twice last year against Barcelona, they looked excellent. They looked a real good counter-attacking team, but that kept the ball, if that makes sense. Like they don't camp in your half, but they get the ball and then they spring. And this year they look anything but. Kuva, let's wrap up the tonight's game. I think that we could go on about it for forever, I suppose. But when you look at that result, it was a good result. It was needed because from about the 25th minute to the 35th minute, we went from bottom of the group to top of the group. And then Sporting Lisbon losing again. We've put ourselves in a wonderful position, haven't we? Let's look at the positive. We have given ourselves one win away, right, from going through.
We have indeed. Let's face it, end of the day, we did win the match. We did create a lot of chances. We could have scored a lot more. We just didn't take them. I've not got a problem with that. Sometimes you don't always get put away your chances. I'm more concerned when we have one of these scrappy games where, although we see it out and the opposition don't have a shot on, a reasonable shot on goal, and we've only had like 2, maybe 3 at the most ourselves. I prefer to see this. At least there's more. It's more to watch, isn't it? I mean, I wanted to see some more exciting football. We got it tonight, but not quite as I was imagining it. I think that's it. I mean, how much do we go? We can't go too cavalier, as everybody says, but there is a point where you think they're just there for the taking, aren't they? They're just you got to smash them. Going down 10 men, I think that was a bit alarming the way they started dominating towards the end. How can we be hanging on at that point? It was crazy, but it's football, isn't it? I mean, I think end of the day, it's a win. Got some goals. Yep. Sonny got a couple more. That's good for him. Kane, mixed bag for him, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I thought he did well in the first half when we were scoring the goals, and then
soon as the penalty miss happened, maybe I was playing on his mind when he put in that slightly overzealous cross for Bryan Gil to try and get on the end of. I think even Kane might have struggled to get onto that one.
Yeah. I mean, Henry, just to round it all off on tonight's game, Skippy came on. We've not seen him properly for a while. Bryan Gil came on. Sanchez. What did you make of their cameos?
Well, Skip and Bryan Gil only got 10 minutes. Sanchez only got about 5 or 10. Game's already, the game's done by then. I know at the end we thought, fuck me, we might draw, but the game. I don't think 10 minutes is enough to really judge. I mean, I feel like we need to. They both need to get more game time for themselves, but I just don't see them ever getting in this team to be a proper starter. I mean, their cameos, they did all right. I mean, Skip made a couple of good challenges, which you expect from Skip. He's always, hungry and getting involved. Sanchez was probably at fault for the second goal. Him and Emerson Royale together going up for a header. That right-hand side is a circus when you look at it.
You told me Emerson Royale's strength was his heading.
I know. I cursed it.
You've had him there tonight.
I know.
You've had him there, Henry.
I said he was good in the air, and I said Kane doesn't miss penalties.
You were talking about Lloris is safe, he's solid. You were talking about Kane's the best penalty taker in the world. Emerson Royale's good in the air.
In world football than Harry Kane.
Huh?
I said name a better penalty taker than Harry Kane.
Matt Letizia.
That's playing right now.
Still Matt Letizia.
The guy at Palace, I don't think has ever missed one, has he?
Milinkovic.
Milojevic, whatever his name is.
Yeah, but never really takes him in.
Hashtag just saying, mate. Hashtag just saying. Listen, guys, before we move on, sorry, someone we've got to talk about, and somebody's reminded me that we've just got to talk about this player, and it's not going to be Emerson Royale. There's no point. We can talk about him as much as we want. Ryan Sessegnon again. What's that noise? What does Ryan Sessegnon do? Why is he a professional footballer, and why is he playing for Tottenham Hotspur? Hoover?
So I was just checking it wasn't my mic. It's not.
Don't know whose mic it is.
I don't know. Carry on.
Never mind. Anyway, Sessegnon.
Yeah.
He was all right.
Was he?
More than that. He was all right.
Was he even all right?
Ran up and down the pitch a bit, didn't he?
I could run up and down my garden a little bit. That doesn't make me all right.
Yeah, he doesn't really offer too much going forward. I mean, we complain about Royale being so useless going forward. Sess is not a lot better. The occasional cross he'll do, but I don't know. He was at times I thought he was covering well. He was tracking back well. Other times I thought he just got knocked off it easily, out of position. I don't know what's up with him. I just don't think he's great at all. I think we just got poor wing backs generally.
Yeah.
Even Perisic, who we're saying is the best of the bunch, that's only when he's in an attacking sense. So you could look at him as being a left winger, and we don't have any wing backs really.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I Henry, I'm going to pull you. I think towards the back end of last season, I'm not sure if it was you, Henry, but I'm pretty sure you said he's actually all right. Cess, was it you that said that to me?
I don't.
Just say no.
Deny it.
No,
just
deny it. Okay, it wasn't you. Trying to get all Henry's clangers out in one show. On a serious note, Sessegnon, the only time I noticed him tonight was when he was fouling people needlessly. Like, honestly, if I was a right winger, I would love to play against Ryan Sessegnon because he's always too close to his man. Do you know what I mean? Like he's so tight.
3 touches and you're gone. Simple as
you're
that.
Gone, right? And he offers zero going the other, like nothing going forward. You think tonight we're playing against 10 men Frankfurt for 30, 35 minutes. I don't remember him bombing down that left wing once. I don't remember him getting down there, whipping balls in, joining attacks.
Especially when Lenglet's covering him as well. He should have license to get forward, shouldn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. Is this just a case, guys, that this is purely he is a stopgap? Same with Perisic at his age. We are purely waiting for a Doji, and we're just going to make do with the kid that can't play and the old man that can't run. Sorry, I'm just being harsh, but you know.
Well, Doji looks a player. Sorry, Kuva. He looks a good player. Done really well for Udinese so far this season, and I feel like you are right. I think it's just when your Doji comes in, or you never know. We'll probably do what we did with Spence, and he'll probably sit on the bench for half a season. The only way Spence plays is if we get an injury to Doherty and Royale.
Yeah. It's
and Lucas Moore, yeah.
and probably Kulu will play there as well. Yeah, it's because I think we are as a fan base critical of Royal. I don't want to say harsh because I don't believe we are harsh. I believe he is truly as shit as I think he is. But I've got to admit, I do put Sessegnon firmly in that bracket. At least with Royal, and I'm about to say something nice about him, at least with Royal, you think, at least he gets in those positions going forward, right? At least he kind of tries to join in. He's just not good enough to. Sessegnon, I'm like, run to the half. He reminds me, I'll tell you who it reminds me of. You guys remember this player? Sure you will. YP Lee.
Yeah.
Right? YP Lee, who played on the wrong, I think he was right-footed, but played on the left. And it was run with the ball, halfway line, cut back in, 5-yard pass to someone else. And that, to me, feels like this is Sessegnon every game. Surely he's disappointed in himself, lads, isn't he, that he's not kicked on?
How old is Sessegnon?
22, 23?
That's the thing you'll get. He's young. He's young.
Is that young anymore?
No, it's not. That's like an experienced player.
He's been a pro for about 8 seasons, right? Or 7 seasons.
Erling Haaland is 22 and he's got 200 career goals. I'm comparing it.
I think one of the problems with him is when you talk about wing back, you say if they've got to be a winger and a fullback. With Sess, I don't see him in either of those roles. He's not even half. It's
what
just
does he
like
bring
this.
to the table? What does he actually bring to the table? He's good up until the halfway line, and then he's good at passing.
Well, he's supposed to be electric paced as well, but he seems to get outrun regularly as well.
Kuva, take it all back. Look, he nearly scored. Forget everything. He nearly scored. Take it all back. Class player.
Should have scored.
Yeah. Just quickly, before we move on, I've said that about the last 3 topics. Before we move on from Spurs, Lenglet, how do we feel Lenglet settled in? For me, I feel like the difference you see between him and Davies, he looks very comfortable on the ball. He looks very comfortable when bringing it out. Have we seen him tested defensively enough against proper attackers yet?
Has he really played in a game where we've gone up against proper attackers?
That's what that's the point. That's the point I'm making.
I mean, no, we haven't seen him tested, but in the Premier League, he's going to go back to his reliability. Davies, brand new contract. Looked, the part at the end of the season. He's putting in good challenges. We brought in Lenglet, comfortable on the ball, reliable on the ball, good at playing it out from the back. Had a lots of moments at Barcelona where maybe more severe, where he was comfortable at long passes. And that's probably what we brought him in for. He's not a long-term player. It's just a stopgap. But with Lenglet, we're never really going to get a relationship with our 2 centre-backs because at the end of the season, he's fucking off. So and then we'll come back to the Bastoni links where we're going round in circles and circles. Oh, we're bringing Bastoni in when we're probably not going to. He's probably going to go to Juventus.
Yeah.
And they eventually sack Allegri. But I think Lenglet's a good player and I think he's done well so far at Spurs.
Okay. Kuva, do you agree with that? How have you... Mr. Steady, would you say Lenglet?
Yeah, he's done exactly what I was expecting from him. He's like an upgrade on Ben Davies, but he's the player that won't catch your eye. His positional sense is good. That's probably why you don't see any of these last-ditch tackles, that although they look, Ben Davies throwing himself in with the last second block of the ball. It looks spectacular and it gets everybody off their feet and go, wow, great bit of defending. But what do they always say about best thing for the central defenders do? It's positioning. Yeah. If you get in a good position, you can have a quiet game. You don't need to make these tackles. He's been doing that. He's been using the ball well. Tonight, I think he sort of cut down with those really long-range passes he's been trying in previous games. So, again, it didn't catch the eye because there was no Hollywood outlet ball for him to sort of, say, look, check that one out. That's Hoddle. He had a quiet game, but it is steady. He is Mr. Steady. He's very reliable. When he does get called into action, he does it well. You compare it, say, Romero's not having the best of seasons. Romero, you get one crunching challenge, you think brilliant. The next you miss something, and there's an attack on, there's a little slip up. It's the complete contrast. One's steady, one's eye-catching, high-risk, high-reward player.
Yeah, you're spot on with that. Spot on. I said we were going to move on. One more thing I wanted to talk about. This one will divide opinion massively, I reckon, in the chat. Darren Mills has said, we keep talking about Cesc, Sanchez and Royal. What about how shit Dier is? Now, this is a conversation where I truly believe there's no middle ground with this guy. People either think he's shocking or they seem to think he's brilliant. He was crap tonight. Why is there motion at my front door at 11:15? It's a fox. A fox has set my Ring doorbell off. Sorry. Sorry, I just realised we're live on stream and I said that. I'm just like we're just a couple of mates on a WhatsApp chat. Dier was shocking tonight. But why is there this myth, or do you think it's a myth, that he's having this great resurgence under Conte? Because I think he looks so bad positionally on the ball. Kuva, let me start with you on this one. Eric Dier.
Really easy for me. When he's playing in a back four and he's one of a defensive pair in the centre, he's awful every time. Mistakes all over the place. But as soon as you put him in a back three and he can sit in the middle and the other two do the majority of the work, easy for him then. There's not, since he doesn't have a big workload, he can look all right. So people assume that he's having a great game, I think. What does he really do? Point at people, point where people should have been.
Yeah. One of them.
I don't see it myself. I've never been a fan, never will be. But I don't know. He's big, he's strong, he's stupid, he's all of these things. I don't know. I prefer to have a proper footballer in there myself. But
it was starting to sound like you fancied him. He's big, he's strong, and then you said he's stupid. But I mean, Henry, look, there are people that look. You know my feelings on this. I've never seen a guy turn his back as much as Dier does. But he keeps being talked about as though he's like the best English centre-back now and Conte's made him look great. Does he look great because he's surrounded by two other centre-backs and the fact that he's normally got 2/3 defensive-minded midfielders in front of him? I.e., let me ask it another way. If we were to actually be an expansive football team, would we see how poor Dier is when he's not got all that protection?
Yes. We play 7 at the back most games. So, and you put any centre-back in there. Tarkowski, Connor Cody, Bowley, Ogbonna, Kahir, Tyrone Mings, Contact, they're all going to look half decent. Eric Dier will have some games where he will look half decent. This comment is spot on.
Is he the Spurs Rob Holding, Henry?
I think he's better than Rob Holding. I mean, Rob Holding is fucking awful. But he just needs to sort out his new hairline that he's just got. With Eric Dier, for me, he's...
Don't talk about hair when Kuva's on. Come on, this is sensitive. It's sensitive times, man. Sensitive.
With Dier, I don't know what he excels at. He's not good in the air. He's big, he's strong. He's not quick. You got to be to play on the centre back now. You got to have a bit of pace. You look at Martinez and Varane; they're off their line like a shot. Saliba at Arsenal. You know, John Stones at City and Akanji, they're both quick. Rudiger used to be rapid at Chelsea. And now they've brought in Koulibaly. He's probably faster than most of our players. We don't have... And we've got Romero in the pacey one, but the one in the middle is supposed to be the calm and composed one. But he couldn't order a piss up in a brewery. I don't get what he does. He's like Cooper said, he's pointing here or there to trying to give instructions, but you've got to lead by example. And he doesn't excel in anything. Turns his back all the time. Gets beaten in the air by, smaller players like Carvalho and who do we play? Was it against Palace last year? And Eze was beating him to headers. Eze's 5'10", Dier's 6'1" or 6'2". For me, I don't get it. And I think if we
this guy won't, will he? He will not say anything that won't be 100% brilliant for Spurs. Dier doesn't panic. I mean, this is surely the wrong night to say that after what we just saw from him. I mean, Dier doesn't panic. A leader brings experience. I mean, just shocking, guys. I want to look forward to before we look to the Man City Liverpool game and some of the other.
I was going to say really quickly to finish off on Dier.
Go on.
I think tonight I'll put this in one of the chat channels. I think he's cemented his place alongside Maguire in the England team. That's his big use for tonight. So then we can have a nice early exit from the cup, save our players for the league games.
Can you imagine Dier and Maguire as a centre half pairing?
Who's worse out of the two?
I think they're both shit.
Maguire's worse. He's calamity on legs every game.
I just can't imagine them two as a pairing. There'd be a lot of pointing going on.
Dier has learnt the ability to hide. Maguire can't manage that.
Yeah, that's because he's massive. Like you can't miss him. He is huge. It's not good, is it? Another area for England where you look at and go, what's happened to all the... I remember an era where it was King and Carragher couldn't get in for England because they had Terry and Ferdinand in front of them. And you were like, that's all right. If what was it? Was it Euro 2004? I think Ferdinand or Terry, one of them missed the first game. King played against France and got man of the match. And you're thinking, look at that. Now England are like, right, who is it? Stones, Maguire, Dier, Tomori, Guehi. I mean, it's okay, right? But what's happened to the kind of leaders, the proper centre backs, Kuva?
The game's evolved, doesn't it? The game's completely evolved. You look at say 2004 to 2010. You had Carvalho, Terry, Rio, Vidic. Shortly afterwards, you had the likes of Company, Kolo Touré in there as well. Even players like Colaccini at Newcastle, half decent players. Who have you got now? How many world-class centre-backs are there in world football right now?
No, there's not. There's not many. I mean, off the top of your head, who are you going with?
Well, I was going to say Van Dijk, but this season he's been fucking awful.
Right, so he's been one of the best centre-backs for the last 5 years. I'll put him in there purely because football's not just about this bubble, right?
Right now, world-class centre-backs.
Oh, it's one coming to the end of his career, the really late 30s. Nah, that'll be some, wouldn't it? Look to Italy for that. Right on current form, maybe not, but
this is what I mean, guys. This is what I mean. Like,
I'd probably put Koulibaly in there.
Oh, and what's the big German lad? He sort of goes.
Are you thinking of Schlotterbeck?
No.
Schule?
No, it's one he's either retired this season or he's in his last year with somebody. He was a stalwart for Bayern Munich and Germany for ages. Really big, dominant centre back.
Per Mertesacker.
Oh God, why can't I remember his name? It's age.
Can anyone help Kuva out with this cryptic clue?
German centre back. Hummels.
See, look.
Yeah, that's him. Yeah, Mats Hummels.
There you go.
What a player that was. And funny, he bucks the trend of needing to be quick because he was slow, but he's quick up there.
So
you had Hummels. Before that, you had Jerome Boateng. Is Ruben Diaz world class? For me, he doesn't start for Man City. He's got Stones and Akanji. That looks.
I think other than Van Dijk, not this season, but other than Van Dijk in general, I wouldn't say any of the other three. Thiago Silva absolutely was.
Mustard, though, isn't he?
He's still good, but you can see now that part of being world class is the whole package, right? And you can see now some of the deficiencies because of his age. Not his fault. It's natural. We've all got deficiencies, haven't we, Kuva, as we get older?
Speak for yourself, mate.
Mate, listen, after I finish this stream, when I stand up, I'll do that thing. You know, when you start making noises, you go, oh, you start making old man noises because you've stood up. Yeah.
And I'll take that a little bit longer to sit down in the first place.
Yeah. And you go, oh.
I'll do that. I'm in my 20s and I do that now.
Yeah. But other than that, Romero, for me, I'm sorry, he is nowhere near world class yet. I'm sorry. He's a very good centre back.
Is Saliba world class?
No.
Oh yeah.
Can we please, with world class? Me and Ransom Bands had this chat yesterday, or whenever it was, Monday. World class for me, you've got to have done it year in, year out for consistently playing at the top of your game for years. Romero's done some really good things in a Spurs shirt. I've also seen many a game where I think, oh, you look rash, you look shaky. Now, that's not to say he can't become world-class, Henry. But, is he world-class yet? I'm not buying it.
What about Marquinhos?
Good player. A very good player.
He's got to be in the world-class category.
I don't know, man.
Captain's Brazil from time to time now. It's been very good for PSG for 3 or 4 years. He's got to be knocking on a door.
Yeah, he's close to it if he's not there. I think has he really lived up to the potential he had though? I mean, so many people saying he's going to be the next big thing. Has he really got there? I'm not sure. He's close, but I would have taken prime Van Dijk over him every time.
But this is the thing for me, Kuva. I'm not a fan, and Henry, you know this more than anyone. I'm not a fan of just chucking players into the world-class category just because they might be good for a spell. So, for example, for me, centre-backs need to be absolutely top drawer, cut out the mistakes, leaders. They need to be able to go about their business, and we're never talking about mistakes. That, for me, like Rio Ferdinand at the beginning of his career, what was levelled at him was he makes a lot of mistakes. Over a 2-year period, he kind of turned into this Rolls Royce where he weren't making mistakes. He was running games from the back and he just looked solid. Same with strikers. A striker has a good season and we go world class. No. You've got to do it year after year after year. I don't know if there are any world class centre backs out there. I'm going to put it out there. I'm not sure there is.
I think VVD's this season. If you take this season away, post injury, really, isn't it? He's never looked the same since he's come back from the injury. True. But before that, head and shoulders above everybody, I think.
True.
But what about Ramos? Would you put Ramos in there?
Not anymore.
Oh yeah, it used to be though.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. It feels like
loved him at Spurs.
Oh, mate. It feels like, Kuva, that most of the players we're talking about, when we're talking about who's world-class and who are the top centre-backs, they all seem to be coming to the end of their career. And I'm not seeing... I like Schlotterbeck. I think he looks good. But again, he's young. Can he push that through? I think Akanji looks a good player. But again, none of these are screaming like complete centre-back. Do you know what I mean? None of them...
Yeah, there's a lot of that Romero bracket, isn't there? I mean, Gvardiol, Botman.
Yeah.
They're players that can kick on to become that dominant sort of player, but they're not there quite yet.
Yeah, like PK is another one who was world-class. Now, he's coming to the end of that career and he cheated on Shakira. What a silly boy. But, I'm not seeing it. Again, Tom's made a good point. Yeah, that Timber looks good, but a great name, by the way. But again, it's the same with strikers. There's 2 or 3, but there's no one that screams out to me immediately as I'm a world-class centre-half.
What about Ruben Diaz?
I really like Ruben Diaz. I think he's a top defender. Is he world-class? I don't know. Maybe the next bracket down for me.
Do you have to do enough defending so you'd even know?
Do you know who I would put in there, actually? I'd say, if not, he's very close to, I'd say Laporte. I really like Laporte.
Yeah, another great player, yeah.
Yeah, very good player.
I think he's the best centre-back at Man City, personally.
I think we always struggle with this topic because everybody's version of what world-class means differs.
Yeah, for sure.
It's like, really for me, it would just mean a player that gets into any team in the world without looking out of place.
Like Emerson Royale.
So who? Okay, if that's the case, Laporte starts for every team in the Premiership, right? He starts for every team in Serie A. Juve have got
probably start for every team in Spain.
I mean, I don't know. Real Madrid have got Diego Militao and Alaba.
Listen, I'd have him at centre-half over Alaba all day, every day. I like Alaba, but not as a centre-half. I'm not saying he's bad there.
They've also got Rudiger as well.
Rudiger,
okay, he starts for pretty much. He's in the conversation. Then you look at Germany. Bayern Munich have got De Ligt and Hernandez. He's better than Hernandez.
Yeah. Listen, I'm not.
There's a conversation. Who does he not start for? Brazil? Not Brazil. PSG. They've got Marquinhos and Kimpembe. I'd have him over Kimpembe every day of the week.
Is this Henry?
What do we reckon of De Ligt, by the way? Because when he was at Ajax, we were all thinking, "Christ, this bloke's going to be the next big thing." Yeah,
the Netherlands, aged 18.
Yeah.
See, I mean, they've got Open Meccano. So there's only probably a couple of teams you think there's a debate for, but
Bonucci?
I'd have him over Bonucci.
Who?
I've got Laporte.
Yeah. So this is live on stream, and I'm going to clip this tomorrow morning. Henry Wright is saying that Laporte is the best centre-back in world football.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying that there's only a few...
Right, okay. Who's better than him?
Right now, on current form, right now, I'm struggling. Right. I am struggling.
Stel, chip in. World-class centre-backs. Can you think of any?
What, in the world?
In the world.
World-class. Is there a better centre-back, Stel, right now, on current form, than Laporte?
World-class on form right now. Just trying to go through all the leagues in my head.
Tough one, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Right. You could be right.
People are saying I'm smoking budge. I mean, name me 2 better centre backs right now that you would have in your team on current form over Laporte.
Mate, it's a tough one. It really is a tough one.
I mean, Martinez at United only been there. I mean, 5
Eric Dier.
Got to do a search here.
God, but the fact that no one can definitively, like, if I said to you strikers, you could all give me 3, 4, right? The fact that centre half, no one can go with great certainty. This player is world class, has dominated for years. Like, let's have a look at some of the names, Henry, being spouted by the chat, right? Let's have a look. So we are getting Upamecano. I can never say his name.
Upamecano.
We are getting De Ligt, right?
No, absolutely not.
Sorry. I've just read that wrong. We are getting Eric Dier, Virgil van Dijk, Marquinhos, Lissandro.
No, I don't. You can't foggy foam. You can't put Jimenez in there. Atletico Madrid are getting. They lost home and away to bloody. What's the Belgium team?
What you said, Bruges? No.
Yeah, Club Bruges.
So we're getting Lissandro Martinez, who I think is a very good player, but world class. Really, and then we're getting Saliba is better than Laporte right now.
What about Alaba? Alaba's been pretty good.
I did say Alaba at Madrid. He has been, but I don't know. That centre back at Napoli, the Asian one, the Korean, is it Korean Kim Min Jae? The Family Guy.
Kim Min Jae, yeah, I watched him today at Napoli. I watched him today. He looked all right. We're getting Rudiger, Alaba, Bonucci.
Rudiger for me is probably the only one that you could have an argument with.
Do you know who's playing really well at the moment? Stones, actually.
I said this earlier. Stones has been excellent.
I think Stones for me is England's best centre back.
I agree.
Yeah.
Can you name 5 world-class goalkeepers?
I was going to say 5 world-class goalkeepers.
Stone's probably the closest we had to Rio Ferdinand since he retired.
I like Stones. What I like about him, he had a really difficult spell when he went to City. And, people were worrying and they bought Diaz and Laporte. And if you remember, the season after because they bought Diaz in the January window, right? If I'm not wrong, I think they bought Diaz in the January window. And then the next summer, everyone's thinking Diaz and Laporte are going to play every game. And Stones kept, I can't remember which one of them didn't play a lot, but Stones kept one of them out. All right, let's do this then. Everyone in the chat as well. Kevin, I keep trying to add you, but it won't let me for some reason. Everyone in the chat, top 5 world-class goalkeepers was the challenge set by Henry. 5 world-class goalkeepers, and I don't want to hear Hugo Lloris's name mentioned.
There is only 2 world-class, in my opinion, there's only 2 world-class goalkeepers.
The one at Leicester?
Oh, he might as well be a bricklayer because he can't fucking save anything. For me, the only 2 world-class goalkeepers right now, Jan Oblak. There's a reason why he's been linked with Spurs, right? To Stegen. No.
Courtois?
Correct. In my opinion, is the best goalkeeper in the world. That Champions League final performance was just.
Is Manuel Neuer still world class?
Probably not.
No, for me, the 2 world class goalkeepers is Mayan and Courtois. I think Alisson at times is a fantastic stopper when it goes to one-on-ones. But he does concede some stupid fucking goals a lot. Mm-hmm. Edison, for me, you could put any goalkeeper in that net and they're going to keep 20 clean sheets a season.
I think Edison gets overrated. Don't get me wrong, I think he's a very good keeper. I think he gets overrated because he is absolutely brilliant with his distribution. I think sometimes that overlooks some very dodgy moments that he has. Is that fair, Coover? Is that a bit harsh on him?
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah, mate. No, it's fair. It's fair. It's difficult sometimes because you have to take into consideration what sort of team they're playing in as well. For some players, it might not matter that their distribution is not great. Right. If they're just world-class shot stopper, say Nick Poper, for example, I think shot stopper, I think he's the best in the league. But
Pope?
Yeah, but with the ball at his feet, he's very very mediocre at best, isn't he?
See, I would argue, Kuva, as a shot stopper. I don't want to say. I know you're thinking
Galini.
I don't want to say this name because people are.
Come on.
I would say as a shot stopper, there isn't a lot between Ramsdale and Pope.
No.
Ramsdale pulls off some wonder saves from time to time.
So does Hugo Lloris, mate.
I'd say Ramsdale, when he first turned up at the Gooners, he had an outstanding period then.
Yeah, well,
but I don't think he's been quite to that level since.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think the only 2 world-class goalkeepers right now on current form is Mayan at AC Milan and Courtois.
The thing with Ramsdale is he's playing in a really good team at the moment. Like, they keep the ball for long parts of the game. He doesn't really have too much to do. He gets called into action maybe 2-3 times a game. It's not as challenging. Whereas the goalkeeper at Everton, fucking hell, he's non-stop having to be
Good old Pickers.
I don't mind him. I think he's a good
goalkeeper. What do we
make
of Meslier of Leeds?
I like him.
Yeah, I mean, lots of clubs talking about. Sorry, lots of rumours that he's been linked. He's very young for a keeper. Do we like him?
You know who it's going to be to take over Lloris, don't you?
Go on.
Anything you like, we'll go for Pickford.
Oh, don't say that.
We will. That Meslier at Leeds.
There is worse out there.
Meslier at Leeds is not a bad goalkeeper. He's young. I think he's 21, 22. French.
The Wolves goalie is good, you know. The goalie at Wolves.
Yes.
Meslier is really tall. He's like 6'5", 6'6". However, the one thing that Pickford cannot do, and none of these goalkeepers cannot do that we're talking about, is they can't organise a defence. If you watch Pickford, he's always screaming at his centre backs, always. Back and Henderson, they're always banging on the floor.
Henry, how would you organise Dier, Cess, and Emerson accuracy?
With a shovel.
You don't need that quality at our club. Not with these players.
If I'm looking at
I wouldn't worry about organising a defence at Tottenham.
With a shovel.
If I'm looking at
just quickly,
I'd go for that Brighton keeper.
Just quickly,
did you see Dier's?
Just before we carry on, guys, just quickly, thank you very much. So there's 165 of you in the chat, so thank you very much. Keep getting your opinions in. We can talk about anything. So this is the show where we don't just have to talk about Spurs. Get your comments in. Please go and I'm sure you have already, but if you haven't, please go and subscribe to Stell at Tottenham Away. Subscribe to Henry Wright TV. Subscribe to Savva Talk Spurs, and just subscribe to Kuva being a sexy beast.
No. Three Spurs boys, Kuva and the Kang on Sundays.
There we go. The free Spurs boys. Please show some love. We're all, whether we agree, disagree, we're all Spurs fans. So please show the love. Henry, what were you saying, mate?
If I'm looking at the Hugo Lloris, I mean, my number one replacement is I'll tell you what, I forgot one goalkeeper I think is world class. I know he had a mare tonight, but Kevin Trapp is a phenomenal goalkeeper. This was a guy that was in the Bundesliga 2 3 or 4 years ago, kicked out of the German national team, or whatever it was. He has come on leaps and bounds. I think Kevin Trapp is right up there.
I really like Donnarumma. If I was to pick any goal in the world, I'd pick Donnarumma.
I mean, he's a fucking giant, but the thing about Donnarumma is when he was playing for Italy, they had Chiellini and Bonucci, who had a wonderful partnership. In front, Jorginho, Verratti, Barrea. And they've got Spinazzola. And before they had Florenzi, they've got someone else.
Yeah, but that's like saying Peter Schmeichel had Rio Ferdinand and Van Dijk in front of him.
No,
or he had...
that
was Van der Sar, wasn't it? That was Van der Sar.
This is what I'm saying.
I think most good goalies, like look at Emerson and Alisson. They've always got good centre-backs.
Yeah, but the thing about them two is, when it comes to one-on-one situations, I feel a lot more confident with Alisson and Edison over Donnarumma. Donnarumma makes saves for the cameras.
Isn't the mark of a world... Look, it's the same as anything, right? World class. It's the same. You know when people say, "Oh, this manager only manages these teams." Well, yeah, because he's a world class manager. It's the same with keepers for me. The best keepers will pay for the best clubs, and the mark for me. I don't know if you guys disagree. The mark for me isn't how many things they do in a game. It's the one or two things that when they're called upon, that they don't let you down. And that was Peter Schmeichel in a nutshell for me. That he didn't have loads of things to do, but when called upon. I don't remember glaring mistakes from Peter Schmeichel. He was big, like Kuva likes them, big, strong, big hands.
Is Peter Schmeichel in the top 3 goalkeepers of all time?
Yeah, of all time. I mean,
Oliver Kahn, man.
Do you know the best goalkeeper? Do you know the best goalkeeper for me is of all time?
Oliver Kahn.
And I personally don't see how there's an argument to this. I would go Iker Casillas.
But the fact that you don't see how there's an argument to this, I think football didn't exist before.
He won a World Cup, 2 Euros, 3 Champions League, part of He debuted at Real Madrid as a 17-year-old in that Galacticos team.
Well, in that case, you'd go for Buffon, surely.
Nah, never won a Champions League. Can't go down as the greatest of all time.
But what, without doing
Yeah,
that,
but
really?
That's not.
No, that's individual versus team.
No, but he Casillas captain. He didn't captain. He did
Yeah,
captain.
but it's individual,
the
right?
World Cup.
That's like saying
Buffon
Ryan
won a World
Giggs-
Cup and a European Cup.
But he never did anything in Europe still.
Yeah, but for his
That's like
country.
saying Ryan Giggs wasn't a class player because he never played at
Exactly.
an international
Right,
tournament.
Ryan Giggs never won anything in international.
Right, you can't look. The thing is, Henry. Listen, I think Casillas was brilliant.
Playing in the likes of Juventus with the likes of Del Piero and all the greats out of the years. It's just when it comes down to it, when you look at over their careers, how many times Casillas turned up for Real Madrid in finals and Spain, in the Euros twice and the World Cup. For me, the only player that would come close.
Yeah, but Henry, that's like saying Potter's shit because he never won anything at Brighton.
No, but you're not expected to win things at Brighton. So you can't really, that's not really a fair comparison.
But Buffon won everything at Juve except for European Cup. And he won everything for his country.
Yeah, but Casillas won that and more. And was a better goalkeeper.
Hang on, can we chuck some names in here other than Iker
Does this
Casillas?
mean Gary Neville's the greatest defender in British football ever?
No.
All right, so is Heung-min Son? So Henry, is Heung-min Son Harry Kane shit because everyone fuck all?
When you look at the likes of Erling Haaland, then yeah.
Well, hang on. Just quickly.
Does
right?
Harry Kane go down as top 5 strikers of all time? No, he doesn't.
Of
He
course
doesn't
not.
compare to
No.
Henry. Doesn't compare to Brazil. And why is that? Because they've won everything, and they're always
Not
in the
just
best team.
that. Believe it or
Got to leave
not,
Spurs for that, haven't they? Got to leave Spurs for that.
hang on.
But if he breaks Shearer's record, he'll go down as the best Premier League striker.
Hang on. Can we just go back to goalkeepers for 1 second, right? So yes, Iker Casillas is class, but doesn't this come down to an era thing as well? Like, let's be fair. I'm going to reel off some names here from the past and the present to keep this fair. If we're looking at the best goalkeepers that ever lived, yes, you're going to have Peter Schmeichel in that bracket, Casillas, Buffon, Kane, Neuer, right? But then I'm going to bring in some goalkeepers going further back, the likes of Palaiuka, yeah, the likes of Shilton, the likes of Lev Yashin, Pat Jennings, Gordon Banks. I'm sure they right. So many goalkeepers. I'm not sure because
Yashin as well, the Russian spider.
That's what I said.
Oh,
that's what I said, Lev Yashin. But there's so many. How would there'd be no way to ever say who was the better keeper? I liked Casillas. For me, nowhere near as good a goalkeeper.
I think you're all dismissing Bobby Mims far too easily.
Bobby Mims.
So if you're picking your all-time 11,
oh, Neville Southall. Come on,
who goes in goal for you? You're doing your all-time 4-3-3-11. Your 4-4-3-3 is your formation. Who goes in goal for you? Casillas.
Dino's off.
Dino's off. Was a great goalkeeper.
Dino's off.
We're talking about Iker Casillas.
But Henry,
Henry,
you don't know like past 90. What? How old are you?
I do know about the players before, like Jennings had the fucking giant hands and the spider Yashin, but Casillas, someone's put Horacio Gomez. I mean, for me,
it's all subjective. Casillas for me was a top goalkeeper in a great team, but I've seen better goalkeepers because for me, you can't just say he was the best because he won the most because that's
but he also
the team he was in.
Doesn't he have the most clean sheets in Champions League history as well?
But look at the defenders he had.
Yeah, but you just said to me the best players playing the best teams.
Okay, so are we saying
the best players do play the best team? They do, yeah.
Messi and Ronaldo can't go down as one of the greatest players of all time because neither of them won the World Cup.
That's a different argument. We're talking about
the same one.
Exactly the same.
Okay.
I just said to you that Buffon won the World Cup.
On the international stage, for club level, yes. But internationally, the Brazilian Ronaldo is better than both of them. Pele's better than both of them.
No.
On an international stage, I would take the Brazilian Ronaldo over both of them.
You've got to remember, the Brazilian Ronaldo. the Brazilian Ronaldo, who, by the way, is in my top 5 or 6 players of all time, played in sensational Brazilian teams.
And was the best player in those teams.
I'm not doubting that. But the thing is, that's like saying Messi hasn't been the best player in Argentina for 15 years. He's just not played in teams that are great.
No, but that's okay, I get what you're saying. He's got world-class talent around him, but he excelled to an even higher level. And bearing in mind, he played was it 2002 World Cup with steroids in his knees and still walked out with a golden boot.
Listen, I'm not doubting it, but your argument was if it's going to go down to who won the most, right? That's not going to tell you about the quality of people, is it? It's going to tell you about longevity versus quality. Like Ronaldinho.
If you're choosing longevity, you'd go Gianluigi Buffon.
Like
Oliver
Ronaldinho, for example, one of the greatest footballers.
Okay, different position as well, but Bobby Moore won the World Cup, never won a league title, never won the European Cup.
Right.
Yet Pele describes him as the greatest player he's ever played against.
Bearing in mind, most of Pele's career was against Weatherspoon's bouncers.
No. Hang on. Again.
I'm just saying, he didn't he get over 500 goals in friendlies that he counted as career goals?
Mate, listen, you've got to remember that in the years when Pele was playing, the Brazilian league that he played in wasn't like now. There wasn't a Premier League. It was very different times. But if we're purely going on who's won the most, doesn't that make Ryan Giggs the greatest player to ever play in the Premier League?
No, I'm not saying he makes him the greatest player. I'm saying what my point is Casillas played in these teams and excelled, right? Kept clean sheet in a World Cup final, clean sheet in 2 European Cup finals. I think he's got record clean sheets in Champions League history.
Yeah.
You guys are all a little bit older than me, so you might say the likes of Oliver Kahn, this scary fucking. Did you see him the other night when who is it conceded? Bayern Munich conceded at the weekend, and the guy was like prepared to drag someone out of their seat. He is an animal, but for me, if we're saying, I can't really say all time because I wasn't alive in the 60s and 70s. But I personally would say the best goalkeeper I have ever seen is
Casillas
or Buffon. But if you look at collectively,
here's a question for you. Was Iker Casillas a better goalkeeper than Peter Schmeichel?
See, I've got an opinion on this.
Coover, I agree. I don't believe he was. I don't believe as an actual goalkeeper. I'm talking about the basics here of being a goalkeeper, yeah? Of not making mistakes, of stopping the ball going in the net, of being that defensive leader at the back who organises.
Didn't he win Euros with Denmark as well?
Yeah, but for me, that's got nothing to do with why he was better.
No, I'm just saying, that's a remarkable achievement for Denmark.
Yeah.
Well, then you could say Nikopoulides of Greece is an amazing goalkeeper because Greece won the Euros. He's fucking shit.
I'm not taking the piss out of his achievement. I'm saying,
and he kept loads of clean sheets still, didn't he, in that tournament?
1-0 every game.
Yeah.
1-0.
Yeah.
Score a goal and just defend for 90
minutes.
Right,
okay. Name me 3 goalkeepers better than Casillas.
Peter
Schmeichel, Jennings, Gordon Banks.
I'll tell you who we haven't spoken about.
He's bringing out the big guns.
In the 90s, AC Milan were arguably one of the best teams in Europe, and Rossi was the goalie. Sebastiano Rossi. AC Milan won multiple European Cups, league titles, domestic cups. They won a lot. They won everything. They were amazing, AC Milan. Capello. Was it Capello? No.
It was Capello.
Capello, yeah. And Ancelotti, yeah.
I've gone onto the Sport Bible looking at their top 10, but already want to stop their list because they've got Gordon Banks at number 10, which is ridiculous, and Schmeichel at 8. So I'm not going to.
Schmeichel at 8. He's top 3. Schmeichel's top 3, man.
They've got Cech, Neuer in front of him. They've got Buffon at 3, Casillas at 2, and at number 1 they've got Lev Yashin.
So I mean.
Well, it's the Sport Bible. Do we believe them? Let's move away from him. Now we know that Henry's man crushes are what's his name? Who's the manager at Villarreal?
Unai Emery. If I had a team of Unai Emery and Casillas in goal and Jared Bowen up front.
Right. Yeah. Casillas in goal. Unai Emery managing and Bowen up front. Henry would be in the hospital for playing with himself
It's like I was having a debate with someone on Twitter about in the last 30 years, can you name me two better centre backs than Ramos and Maldini?
Yes.
Was it Maldini a left?
He was a left back, but he played centre back a lot as well.
Hang on, 30 years. So we're literally going 30.
Franco Baresi.
Right,
Baresi
I was going to say Franco Baresi was better than all of them.
Franco Baresi,
huh?
Maldini wasn't really a centre
Baresi over Maldini,
but Baresi kind of taught Maldini, right?
Nesta was class. I thought Rio Ferdinand was a fucking brilliant.
I should have said Cannavaro.
Rio Ferdinand, John Terry, mate. John Terry was top class.
JT is not the same level.
JT is not Maldini, though, is he? He's not Maldini.
He's a top class centre back.
Do you think Sergio Ramos gets a lot of disrespect?
Yeah.
You know, he has over 100 career goals and he's a centre back.
He's one of those players that if everybody was honest, they'd say they would have died to have him in their team.
Puyol, Nesta was quality, man.
I'm taking Ramos over Puyol.
Cannavaro was the fucking nuts, man.
Yeah. I'd still take Maldini over all of these other than Baresi. But didn't Maldini and Baresi play in the same team for years?
Yeah,
they did, yeah.
They conceded, what was it, 41 goals in 184 games?
Is that Conte's wet dream, having those two in his...
Yeah. Emerson Royal right back.
I like attacking football and it's still my wet dream.
Listen, as much as we fucking hate them, and I mean we fucking hate them, Tony Adams and Sol Campbell were both... Sol Campbell as well was a top centre-back, man. He was.
Yeah,
hate him. We all hate him.
I think that's been one of the big tragedies at this club is we didn't get to see King and Campbell together.
Oh, that would have been brilliant.
That would have been unstoppable. But I think we said his name.
How good was Jan Vertonghen?
Great player.
Quality.
He was. Do you know what though? I always preferred Toby. Not by a lot, but I just felt that when Toby came in, the whole thing kind of just settled. Do you know what I mean? It's like him and Jan were just like yin and yang. You know,
they were perfect.
Very witty of me. That
the game when I realised Vertonghen was actually top draw was in the Champions League when we went away to Dortmund and got a 1-0 win. That first half, Dortmund battered us. Vertonghen's performance in that first half was outstanding, man.
See, look, we've got some good names here like Koeman, Passarella,
good
Marcel Desailly, Frank Leboeuf, who he was good, but who's the one that went to Man U when he was really old?
Centre back.
LeBlanc.
You know, there's been some top.
If you used to have a back four, who would you go as your left back to right back?
What, all time?
Let's say last 40 years. I'll go first. 40. So I'd go Cafu at right back.
Nah, Roberto Carlos, man.
He was a left back though.
I thought Carlos was a right back.
No. And even as a left back, I would still take Ashley Cole.
Nah, Maldini.
I've never seen a player get pocketed. I've never seen Ronaldo get pocketed so much by Ashley Cole.
Maldini is the best left back that's ever played, no?
Yeah, but I'd have him at centre back. I personally would have him at centre back.
Maldini was best at left back.
I'd go Cafu, Ashley Cole. I'm sorry, but that's just filth. Centre backs, you can throw anyone you want in there. Baresi and Maldini.
Yeah, but Ashley Cole didn't really do it for country.
You honestly, if somebody offered you right now, Coover, if I said Baresi Maldini, would you be happy to just stop as your centre half pairing?
That'll do me.
Yeah, you'd never.
The thing is with Maldini, he can play anywhere in that back line. Anywhere.
True, very true.
But
like Mikhail has said, Asu Akoto, part-time footballer, part-time porn star. You know, I mean, this guy was living the dream. But guys, let's move away from world class, this, that, the other, and Henry's man love for certain footballers across Europe. I want to talk about somebody Chike put a super chat in. Let's go back to it. So he said, what's everyone's prediction for Liverpool versus Man City? So it seems a strange one, guys, right? Because normally Liverpool, Man City for the last sort of 4 or 5 years has been first versus second in one way or the other. And it's been everything riding on it, right? Normally whoever wins that gets the big gap over the other one. Whereas now it feels like Liverpool have to win just to sort of stay in touch with mid-table, and City need to win because Arsenal have got 3 very, very nice games lined up for them in a row here. I think they've got, someone will correct me if I'm wrong, isn't it? Villa, Forest, Southampton.
Leeds, I think they've got Leeds.
Oh, Leeds, Southampton, Forest, right? So what are we making of this? It's at Liverpool. Liverpool are in shocking form other than the 7-1 tonight. Man City look like they're sweeping past everyone in the league. Is it too easy? I'll start with you, Still. Is it too easy to say City are just going to sweep them aside? Are Liverpool going to... Is this a game where they can bounce back, or are you thinking this is going to go to form?
I think it's going to be a close game, and then City are just going to change gears and win it by a couple of goals. 2-0, 3-1, 4-2, something like that. Liverpool do what they did against Arsenal and put in a really good performance. I thought Liverpool, the best I saw of Liverpool this season was against Arsenal. I actually thought Liverpool played really, really good football against Arsenal, especially playing out from the back under that press. I was really impressed by the way Liverpool got out of it. I sat there and I said to my brother, that's fucking class. It's absolute quality what they're doing here. But no Ruben Diaz, no Trent, no Matic. They got problems, man. They got big problems. And the team you don't want to play against is a team that's got the players to punish you, and that's City. I think Liverpool will give a good account of themselves, but they're going to lose. I'll be shocked if they scrape a draw. It's because City, they just having one of those days where nothing hits the target and the goalie's amazing. But I think Liverpool will give them a really good game, but City will win it by a couple. I think Liverpool have just got too many problems at the moment. It's the best time for City to play them.
Yeah, I mean, Kuva, where I was going to say where Man City are strong, but like they're strong everywhere. But they seem to do a lot of work down that left-hand side where Haaland tends to make most of his runs. And then on that side, you've then got either Foden or Grealish there as well. Are they going to target Alexander-Arnold, who looks like, to quote Jamie O'Hara, not me saying this, he said he's Champions League going forward and League One defending. That is what Jamie O'Hara said 2 nights ago. Do you think that they're just going to batter them down that side with the way Liverpool been playing?
I think it doesn't matter which side. We're talking Man City here. They can just switch it around all over the pitch. But yeah, I suppose if you're gonna have a plan, thinking it might be the route that gives you the most joy, yeah, you'd have to look at that at the moment. I think what Jamie O'Hara said, although it sounds really harsh, you kind of know what he's getting at. Is you really look at Trent for those deliveries into the box. His defending's always been a secondary part to his game.
Apparently he's out injured. I take it back. Apparently he's out injured, so Liverpool can breathe a sigh of relief. Who's going to play there? Joe Gomez?
Mm-hmm. Joe Gomez.
Gomez got turned inside out when he came on against Arsenal. He got absolutely turned inside out.
Martinelli was good, wasn't he?
And City have got just as good players on the wing, if not better, than Martinelli. Mm-hmm. Foden's gonna rip him a new one. It's gonna fucking terrible.
I mean, can anyone put an argument together here for? I mean, Henry, can you put an argument together that, as I said, this is a great time for Liverpool to spring into action, or because what we've seen this year is a few times they've got a good result, and you're thinking, oh, they're going to kick on. They haven't.
Yeah.
And City haven't lost a game yet. Is this going to be what Sky wet their pants over, that Liverpool win and it's only in the Premier League could this happen type thing?
One thing I'll say is Arsenal fans are getting worried that City might do might go unbeaten. All the Arsenal fans are worried about their gold trophy.
Then they need to beat City, don't they? They need to step up and beat City, Arsenal.
They're not going to. For me, I think Liverpool will raise their game for this game, but City will still win. I think at the moment, City are the best footballing team on the planet. They've got, I mean, the wingers, the players they have got. I mean, they could win this game against Liverpool comfortably without De Bruyne. I mean, you take Harry Kane out of our team, how many teams are we beating? They've got so much quality. Look at the centre backs. They can play two different centre back pairings against who they play today, Copenhagen, where they can go Stones and Akanji. Then they can go Laporte and Diaz. They can afford to resting Haaland, and still put a player like Alvarez up front. Okay, they come away with a draw. They missed a penalty. I can only see City winning this. I don't think it's going to be a 6-3 against United. I think Liverpool will make it tight. However, if City do get an early goal and it is Haaland, their confidence is going to be right sky high. And then I think they've got an easier champion. I think they've got Dortmund away next week. So Pep will have his eye on both, but it's at a point now where I'm gonna ask you guys a question. How many more Premier League games can Liverpool lose before Klopp gets the axe? If he loses against
Henry,
City,
that was going to be my point. If they do to them, if they do to them what they just did to Man United, has Klopp got too much credit in the bank?
He's got a lot. I mean, he won them their first Premier League trophy. However,
loads, right? So
he spent, how much did he spend in the summer? They brought in
I think just
100 million euros on Nunes. They brought
that midfielder, didn't they? Arthur.
Yeah, Arthur. They brought in
Arthur's on loan, isn't he? Yeah.
They brought in the guy from
he's injured actually. He's injured.
Yeah, they brought in a couple of players. But
they got Carvalho, but they'd already agreed the deal before, I believe. But does that still to answer Henry's question? Does that outweigh? Does the fact that he spent a bit of money? Do you think that's going to outweigh? Let's just assume they get a 6-3 pasting like Man United did.
Yeah.
Does that outweigh the credit he's got in the bank, or is it just going to be a case of right, we write this season off and we go again next year? Because that will leave them, if I'm not wrong, 17 points off the top come the end of the weekend.
Look, for me, it's a number of things. Firstly, they'd be fucking idiots if they sacked Klopp. They'd be absolute fucking idiots, because who are you going to bring in that's going to do what Klopp's just done for Liverpool? They were craving for a league title. 30 years, he gave it to them, and a Champions League and 2 domestic trophies last season. So if they think they're going to repeat that with someone else, good luck to them, because they tried everyone else for 30 years. So first of all, they'd be stupid. Secondly, he's got plenty of credit in the bank. He's been their best manager in over a decade. So you don't just stitch him like that. Give him a chance to rebuild it. It's going to take 2-3 years. And I think their biggest problem isn't up front. They score goals. Liverpool got goals in them. They showed it tonight. They got 2 at the Emirates. They got 3 against Brighton at Anfield, even though they drew. They can score goals.
Mino's on great form, isn't he?
I just think their issue is defensively. Defensively, they've got problems, and I also think the midfield it's just not good enough. It's aged. It's tired. It needs replenishing. And when you've got your wide players not quite playing how Robertson and Trent were in the heyday, then this is what's happening to Liverpool. Liverpool need a rebuild. That era has gone. When Mane left, it was the beginning of that era. So they need to rebuild it. And I think they're going to... Liverpool are in a top 4 battle. That's it. They're not winning the league. They're in a top 4 battle. But they get their players back during the season. They can still win. They can still win an FA Cup and a Carabao Cup again. They've got it in them. They're capable.
So, like Stel said there, Kuva, so if, Liverpool are in a top 4 battle, now look, I don't mind going on record and say famously, I thought they'd finish second. I didn't think they'd be as good, but I cannot believe the drop-off in one summer, right? Because we can't say we saw this coming because just 4 or 5 months ago, they were challenging for a quad, right? So with that in mind, if they do lose this weekend, Kuva, and Chelsea win, and the reason I'm using Chelsea is because they're in fourth currently. there'll be 9 points off the top 4 after 10 league games. Now, whilst it's only 10 league games, 9 points, you're then banking on Tottenham, Chelsea, Man City and Arsenal to lose 3 or 4 more games, more than what Liverpool do between now and the end of the season to catch that up. That's a huge ask, isn't it, for anyone?
It is, until they find a way to cope with the changes. It's that Mane thing again, isn't it? It's made such a difference to their team. To be fair, I actually did tip them to finish outside the top 4 this season, but I did think it was the wheel was going to come off as soon as Mane.
All right, Nostradamus.
Well, it's not happened yet, has it? They could get top 4. It doesn't mean anything then, does it?
Nostradamus.
But yeah, the thing is, Stell's right when he says they need a rebuild. We know this. They would be out of their minds to sell Klopp. If they did to get rid of Klopp, if they did that, it's no better than having Daniel Levy as chairman. It's exactly the sort of thing he did.
Is there a danger, guys? And Henry, I know you need to go soon. Just drop off when you need to. And do you need to go now?
Sorry, I mute myself. No, I can go for another 5 minutes or so.
Okay. So is there a danger, guys? Let's flip it on its head. Rather than him being sacked, which I think we all agree is not going to happen, is there a danger that he gets fed up and goes, God, I've won the league. I've won the Champions League. I think he's won FA Cups, League Cups, Super Cups. He's won everything I think he can as manager there. Is there a danger where he goes, I've not got the appetite for another complete overhaul and rebuild? Is there that danger?
Do you know what I think? He's in a similar situation to when he was at Dortmund and he come off the back of winning the league, winning a couple of domestic trophies. He spent 7 years there now. He's at his 7th year at Liverpool. He's won them everything. Double Cup, Super Cup, Premier League, FA Cup, League Cup, Champions League. He's won it all. The problem he's got is he's now got to rebuild that team again, obviously. But I don't think FSG, who own Liverpool, will give him the time. Because whoever comes in, which I think if I was Liverpool, I'd be looking at 2 coaches. But neither of these coaches I'm looking at have really done a rebuild of this caliber because they need... they've got to seriously sort their defence out. And their midfield, I don't think it's... I mean, on paper, it's fantastic. But Henderson... Milner now is what? I don't know. Keita...
Henry, haven't they started that rebuild though? So in the midfield already, you've got
Elliot,
who's starting to get more game time. Who I think, by the way, I know he's a little rat, but he's a
good player. He's a good player.
You've got Carvalho that's come into that as well. You've got Núñez, Diaz, and Jota that have been brought to almost replace the old guard of Salah, Mane, and Firmino. Tsimikas is getting more game time at left back. Are we seeing that? And this is a transition year for them.
Then what does it come down to? If they're already starting the rebuild, it comes down to Klopp. Klopp is a fantastic motivator. Henry, who puts your arm around. If I'm Liverpool, there's a manager who got sacked a month ago now, and a lot of people are going to throw their, a lot of people are going to go crazy. But if I'm them, I'd be looking at either Zidane or Tuchel.
I thought you were going to talk about. I thought he was going to say Emre's the only manager that can go to.
I think Tuchel.
Scotty Parker.
Simon Bowden up front.
I think Tuchel replaced Klopp at Dortmund. Did quite a good job there. I think
Henry, it's not Klopp. Go back to your channel, start of the season when we were talking about the season ahead. Will Stewart predicted this was going to happen. He actually said this was going to happen, and he explained why. And we all laughed at him. We all laughed at him. I said to him,
"You're not laughing now, are you?"
Do you know what?
I said, I remember that show. I said, "Will, you're fucking out of your mind."
Can I just say,
are a top 4 team every season? And do you know what? He did say this would happen.
I'm happy to admit, live on my own show, I was completely wrong about Liverpool. I thought they'd be up there. I said City would win by a country mile, but I truly believed Liverpool would still have more than the rest. The drop off for me has been massive. But then this leads me to these 2 comments before I've been Coover or something. So Mr. DP, big up to yourself, has said Liverpool are a massively better team than us. much higher possibility they get top 4 over us. And then Scott M being Scott M has come in and gone, Mr. DP 100%. Now, even as someone as me, who's always half glass empty, I suppose, about Spurs because I've been burnt about 9 million times, even I'm looking at this and go, for Liverpool to finish above Spurs, right, we could be 13 points clear of them come Sunday night.
So Savva, this is the issue regarding these comments. Okay, Klopp is refusing to budge on his style of play, and he's trying to stick with the style of play, regardless of the fact that his squad is weaker at the moment. It's weaker. If I was Klopp, I'd drop the wing backs. I wouldn't try and play with wing backs at the moment. Now, Conte, where we know the football's not good, we know it's not attractive, and we're bored shitless of it, he is just getting results. That's all he's doing. He's just getting results. Now, whether it's by luck, whether it's by tactics, whether it's by he knows something we don't, you can't let Brighton come to Anfield and grab a free draw and go 2-0 up, and yet Spurs go away to Brighton and get a 1-0 win. So whilst that's keep going on, they're not going to finish above us. They won't. Now, if that switched, then yeah. Because it's early in the season. There's still, 30 games to go.
Let me ask you a question now.
Liverpool aren't getting results, man. They're not.
Let me ask you a question on that, Stel. Just before I do, Henry does need to jump off. Henry, thanks so much, mate. I feel like we've streamed for maybe 5 hours together tonight. So big up to yourself.
Yeah, no worries, mate. I'll see you. I'll see you tomorrow. Stel, I'll probably speak to you tomorrow in Cuba. As always, take care.
Yeah, mate.
And when's your next watch along? Henry, when can people watch you on a watch along next?
Next one's going to be Everton game. Hang on, Stel, are you going to the Everton game?
Yeah, and then afterwards it's my brother's birthday, so I'm not doing any YouTube on Saturday.
Right, okay.
Unfortunately.
I'm 50-50 if I'm going to do a watch along, so I might go to the game. But if not, there'll be some sort of content. Obviously, we've got Spurs. You're not around for the Spurs corner on Sunday, are you?
Who, me?
Mate, I'm in Marbella. I'll be well too drunk wherever I am in Marbella. I'll be drunk.
What are you doing there? You just got back from holiday.
It's my fault. Mine and my best mate's 40th. So 4 of us are going to Marbella for 5 nights.
God help you.
Yeah. But Henry, listen, thanks, man. I'll see you later. All right. Cheers, mate. Still, let me ask you a question on that then. Is there a possibility at any point that Liverpool have that game that does make them click and then they do go on that 10-game winning run? Or is this literally going to be a season where they're going to have to make do with a top 4 challenge and scrape into that top 4? And the reason I use the word scrape is because right now they're relying on other teams, aren't they? Whatever we say about them from now on, they are relying on other teams dropping a lot of points.
I'm going to say what I've said many times, and I'm going to apply it to Liverpool as well. It's all about staying in the mix before the World Cup begins, so that when we come back after the World Cup, end of December, and that January transfer window opens, the teams that are in the mix, the ones that have managed to stay in that group at the top, it's now down to who does the business in the transfer window to see out the season and see what's what. If Liverpool aren't in that mix, they're done. They're done in the league. And this is what I keep saying about Conte. I think he's going to keep us in the mix. Somehow he's going to keep us in that mix. Mm-hmm. And then it's over to Levy and ENIC, and it's up to them what they want to fucking do with this club. I think Liverpool are now kind of in that situation where I thought, maybe 2 or 3 teams would, Chelsea, Liverpool, Man City will battle out for the title. I think Liverpool now just need to focus on being in the mix and try and fix it in January.
Yeah. I mean, Kuva, when we look at Liverpool, would it be an absolute disaster for them with the players they've got to not even make Champions League football next season? Or will they still be able to buy the caliber they need because they're Liverpool and their recent history?
Oh, they won't have any problem attracting players, that's for sure. I think the big question for me is this is the real test on their owners, isn't it? Because this is a time in their recent history where they've got to accept that things aren't at the best. They are perhaps going to have to drop out of the top 4. It's a distinct possibility. They may need that season to recover. They had it just a little while ago, didn't they, with that injury crisis the other season, and they dropped way down the table and they just scrape their way back in. We could see something similar this season. Perhaps they find a way to play with all these new players, but they're in a bit of turmoil at the moment. Van Dijk not looking the same. Fullbacks not looking the same. Mane missing. That whole thing with Mane is just so massive. The amount of points he won for them when they had a really bad game and they were getting a 0-0 or scrappy draw was on the cards, and he'd pop up with that winner in injury time. How many points was that worth to him a season? 15, something like that. It was a lot of points. Now this season, are they going to have the patience for that dip in form that we're seeing at the moment? If that prolongs, because as far as I'm concerned, they could finish 10th and Klopp will still be golden to stay on there, because they've seen what the results are. If you do back him and give him some time, it'll be madness for him to go. So I think that's what it comes down to. Plus, in the meantime, it's not like all their great players are gone, is it? They've still got a lot of quality in that squad. So they're well capable of turning people over. Look, tonight, it's only Rangers, sure, but smacked 7 goals, 9 against Bournemouth. It's there. The evidence is there. They've still got that quality there somewhere. It's getting it all together in the big games that's going to make the difference for them. And I think they're going to come out lacking in too many of them this season.
Okay, just quickly, sorry, Stel, just quickly, in a minute, I'm going to go for about another 10, 15 minutes. In a minute, I want to move on to our other top 4 challengers who are more close to us. I'm not going to put City in there purely because I think most fans acknowledge they probably will win the league. Just before we do, guys, would a Liverpool win on Sunday, would that now fall into the realms of a huge shock as opposed to what it has been the last 4 or 5 years where it's billed as anyone could take it? Would this be a huge shock because of the circumstances?
No, it's just Anfield, man. Anfield's that. If ever there's a place for an unbelievable game of football where Liverpool come out on top, it's Anfield. They're that one club where the 12th man actually is a 12th man. It's not just something that people talk about. I wouldn't be shocked if Liverpool won. I would be. I just don't expect it. I just don't think it's going to happen at all. I wouldn't be shocked at all. Listen, City could go up there and have an absolute stinker. They could have a stinker of a game. It's possible. City aren't going to have an amazing game every single week.
Yeah.
But surprising, yes. Shock? No, it's Anfield, man. Anfield's that one ground in world football where that kind of thing happens.
Kovac, do you agree?
Yeah, it's true. You mentioned the word Anfield. Fans everywhere around the world know what that means. You look at silly little stats that go with, well, I say silly little stats. Things like Van Dijk, he's never lost there. Not in the league. Never lost.
Wow. That's mental. He's never lost a game in the league at Anfield?
Not in the league, no.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a huge thing to say.
It's probably going to be a draw then, isn't it?
Could be.
That's massive.
I think if anybody's going to go there, and even when Liverpool are playing well and still get a result against them, it would be City. But I think for me, this is like, it's become more like a cup final atmosphere for Liverpool this season. For City, another game. They're going to keep on machine-like churning out results all the time. Liverpool, it's like they got more to play for in this one. They've got to sort of prove a few people wrong, show people that they're not sliding down the table and they're still in for some sort of race. Because if they do lose it, that's it. I mean, Klopp's already said they're pretty much out of the title race, didn't he? That's damn early to be saying that. But you know what City are like. You give them a big lead of 9 points or so, you're not catching them again.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I mean, this one, this is psychologically huge for Liverpool, I think.
Massive.
If they fall that massive distance behind, it's almost embarrassing for them because they've been so good in recent seasons. So I think that's the one thing I think is going to take Liverpool through to get a positive result of some sort. I think the occasion is just that big for them, and they will have that Anfield roar behind them. I think they'll get something out of it. I'm going for a draw on it.
Okay, just quickly, party after party, I like comments like this. City drop points to Villa and Newcastle, they're unbeatable. The first part of your comment is yes, factually true. The second part of your comment, last season they've been beaten. They haven't lost a game this season to anyone, if I'm right. I mean, if we want to count the Charity Shield, we can. But from the Premier League and Champions League, I believe they haven't been beaten. Guys, just really, really quickly, last point on City. Is there any hope from you guys? Not hope in the right way. Can you give the City fans any hope that they could do an Arsenal and go invincible all season? I know it's early doors. Could they?
Yeah, of course they can.
Will they?
Miles better than everybody else in the league. That's as simple as that.
Of course they can.
Okay. I don't know if they will, but I mean, I think this is the team with the best chance since that Arsenal team.
The only thing, Savva, the only thing I say is when Arsenal did it, there was only one competitor, Man United. That was it.
True.
Nowadays, you've got a good Arsenal, you've got a stubborn Tottenham, who have beaten them already last season. So proven this, there's a bogey kind of mystery about this game with their bogey team. Newcastle are no mugs this year. They're no mugs at all. And you can't write off Liverpool. So I think it's harder to do it now. I think it's much harder to do it now. But if there's any team that can, it's them.
Mm-hmm. Just quickly, everybody, just before we move on to the next subject, we'll go for another 15 minutes. I say that so many times that it just I might as well say we'll go for another four hours. Please keep hitting that like button. There's still 180 of you in this chat, so thank you very much. And if anyone did want to put any super chats in, they do go to charity. Go and like Tottenham away. Go and like the Free Spurs boys for Kuva and Bobby K. And please subscribe to Savva Talk Spurs. Guys, I think we all acknowledge, right, that City most probably will win the league, which leaves it very open, I believe, then between Arsenal, Tottenham, Chelsea. And tell me if I'm wrong, but are you guys prepared at this stage to chuck Man United into that top four race? They're sitting fifth at the moment. They're a point behind Chelsea. They've got a game in hand on us and Man City and Arsenal. Are Man United top four contenders this year?
I can quickly go on that. I think they're rapidly improving, but I think they got too much that needed fixing. Mm-hmm. You could say that about a few other teams, us included. I just think there's going to be a level of inconsistency with them that even we will manage to keep ahead of them for. Because for me, it would be Man City, Arsenal, Chelsea, Tottenham. Probably that order for me.
Man City, Arsenal, Chelsea, Tottenham. Or Kuva.
Unless there's some big injuries come into play. That will derail us. That will derail Arsenal. Yeah. I think City can cope with it. I think Man United will definitely not cope with it if they get some key players injured for a long time. Chelsea now, I've got a strong squad, I think.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, isn't it? Isn't it funny? Football moves so quickly. Like, I think in the first 3-4 games of the season, Chelsea didn't have a great start apart from their game against us. And everyone was writing them off. They're going to finish mid-table. They look awful. They sacked Tuchel. They seem to have arrested their form. And I think they've won. Somebody will correct me in the chat. That's the beauty, right? I think, is it 5 in a row or 1 draw and then 4 straight wins in a row now with Potter? I think Chelsea will finish second. I really do think Chelsea will finish second. I don't think Arsenal will have enough to stay up there in terms of second. And I think that Spurs, for me, I just don't know if this is sustainable if we get a couple of injuries the same way Arsenal do to big players. Stel, can you see Man United creeping into that top 4? Is there anyone in that top 4 massively better than them other than City?
I think Man United are definitely top 4 contenders. They're probably the least favourites for it, but I think there's another club that we haven't spoken about who we should put in the mix, and that's Newcastle. Yeah. I think they're going below the radar. They're banging in goals. And you know what? They're the only team if we call them a top 4 race club. They're the only team with no European football. They get to rest every week, practice on the training ground, prepare. They get 1 week every week preparation. That is gold. Whereas you look at us, midweek Champions League, then away to Everton, then we've got to travel up to Old Trafford next week on a Wednesday night, then we've got to come back and play away on the weekend, then we've got Sporting Lisbon at home, must-win game. It's just they haven't got that. They haven't got any of that. Newcastle are dark horses.
Did you know?
Look at the way they built with the transfer markets, not just the summer before that. Great goalkeeper upgrade.
Yeah,
just fix their defence. Go and Guimaraes, who I think is one of the best midfielders in the league now.
Top signing
in the world at the moment.
Top signing.
Class.
Kuva, do you know what? I said when they got Tuchel, people were talking about how they think bloody hell, Eddie Howe. When they got Eddie Howe, fans were saying how they don't think Eddie Howe will last, and eventually the owners will bring in a better manager because that's what they do. And I remember saying, this is the best job in football, arguably, to be manager of Newcastle because you're going to have the richest owners. Surely Eddie Howe is going to give it everything he's got to keep this job. He's going to prove why he's the choice for them going forward.
Yeah.
And I think that's his motivation. Like, where do you go from Newcastle? Like, what club is going to be better than them right now? I think Eddie Howe's just doing I think he's pushing himself hard.
You look how much they improved before the players started coming in under Eddie Howe. It was dramatic improvement in their performance.
There was.
So, just quickly, I want to give you the chance to rebuttal this, as they say. So Jimmy Costco has said Newcastle have 3 wins this season against Forest, Brentford and Fulham, but Stell calls them dark horses. I think that's laugh out loud, but it may be lots of love. I'm not sure anymore of the acronyms. Stell, so am I right in saying then if they've only won 3 games and they've got 14 points, that means that they've got 3 wins, 5 draws and 1 defeat? Is that right? What do you say to this?
They're 2 points off 4th, Jimmy. They're 2 points off of 4th. Mm-hmm. How are they not in a top 4 race right now? There you go.
Yeah. I mean,
especially since you can say they started off slowly because 2 of their victories were in recent games.
Yeah.
So they're finding their way. They've got solidity at the back, great goalkeeper, organised now defence, well-drilled team, passing the ball around well. Now they're starting to smash goals in. How they're not in a race, I have no idea.
Yeah.
And I think and Savva, sorry to interrupt you.
No, go on, you're right.
We spoke about the January transfer windows. We're gonna suss out what's what. If there's one club that can chuck money at it in January, it's freaking them and City, right?
That's what I was about to say.
Okay.
I was about to say they're the version of they're the version of the teams that are chasing the title. If they can stay in that race and then spend, they're the top 4 version of that. If they can be 6 points, 7 points within top 4 at the turn of the year, they could turn around and go, right, who can we get? Just a quick side note on that.
Sorry, just before we change that, I was going to say, right at this moment, who would you prefer to play? Liverpool at Anfield or Newcastle at their place?
Liverpool at Anfield.
Yeah,
I think
you're right.
I think Newcastle coming to us in a couple of weeks. I really fear that game.
I'm looking forward to seeing St. Maximin versus Emerson Royale. That's going to be a wonderful matchup. But I just want to give a bit of credit. I think Eddie Howe has done, since he's gone there, he's been there just over a year, right? I think a year last week, maybe. I think he's done a phenomenal job. Now, it's easy to say, they've chucked money at it, but generally, it's not like they've chucked ridiculous amounts at it. He's got sensible signings, Trippier, Target, Dan Burn. We're not talking worldies here. We're talking about solid Premiership pros. Nick Pope. Then a little bit more glamorous with Botman and Guimaraes and Isak. But he's done a wonderful job, guys, hasn't he? To, from where they were with Bruce to now, that's phenomenal, right?
Yeah. You talk about chucking money at it. Look at Ollie. He spent 400-500 million. Fucking disaster. This is why people that slag off Pep, they need to understand Pep gets the big jobs because they trust him to spend the big money and deliver with it. Whereas other managers don't get those big jobs because you give them the money, they still fuck it up. So that's why Pep is elite. Eddie Howe, he's spending money wisely, and he's proving to be quite good with the transfers that are coming in. And respect. It's that simple.
What's interesting here, right, guys, is at the weekend, Man U are playing Newcastle. Now, I don't really pay too much attention to league positions at the moment, but this is quite significant because Man United are 5th with 15 points. Newcastle are 6th with 14 points, but Man U have a game in hand. If Man United beat Newcastle at Man United, they're then 4 points clear of them with a game in hand. That's massive for Man United, isn't it, to stay in touch, like to beat Newcastle? And would you put it past them? Can Man United keep winning? They've won 5 of their last 6 Premier League games. They're the most. Let me just double check this before I tell you.
Man United have got a Europa Cup game tomorrow night. Newcastle don't.
They're second in the form table. Man United. If they win that, do we have to start taking them seriously?
Man United are in the top 4 race, Savva. Man United are going to be knocking on the door. I think they're the least likely to get it, but they're definitely in the race.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. For me, it comes down to consistency. I don't think they're going to have it. There's going to be games they get turnover. Same with us, though, in Arsenal. A couple of injuries, the wheels come off. Who does it happen to? There's something about Man United. It's not quite right, but they're finding a way. And they're only going to improve, aren't they?
Mm-hmm. Why are fans like this? So why can we never just be nice about somebody else? Why is it like Eddie Howe's performing because there's no pressure or high expectations? I would argue the complete opposite, Stel, that with those owners in situ,
he's under massive pressure.
Must be huge because he knows at any moment that they have a little dip, they'll go, hang on, we're going to pump loads of money in here. See you later. We'll bring in Tuchel. We'll bring in a Pochettino. So I don't think this is true. I think this is a real lack of foresight here, party after party, and you're just looking to put people down. Guys, last thing.
There's not a Premier League manager who isn't under pressure. Once you're earning 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, 20, once you're earning millions of pounds as a salary, you have to deliver. You have to deliver. You're getting paid the big bucks. If you don't deliver, you're gone. Any club, any level, they're all under pressure.
I just want to, last one, I'll start with you, Cooper, on this one. last thing, and then I do need to go to, I mean, literally, how she's not divorced me after 3 weeks of being married is crazy right now. But Arsenal, we have to talk about them, right? Because look, all season, Cooper, everyone's been saying they've not played anyone yet. As soon as they do, they'll fall apart. They've come through that test 2 weeks in a row. They've beaten Spurs. They've beaten Liverpool. They play some good football. They've won 8 out of 9. They're scoring plenty of goals. Their defence is pretty much in line with us, Chelsea, Newcastle, Brighton, City, all the teams at the top. I keep hearing they're going to fall away, but their next 3, as we said, are Leeds. I don't know the correct order. Leeds, Forest, Southampton, or Southampton, Forest. Are Arsenal the real deal this year, or are they just going to fall away?
For me, they're the real deal. As mentioned already in this program, we're talking about. I was talking about it. What's going to bring them down will be injuries. It's not who they're playing, because they are going to keep stuffing all the teams in lower end of the table. But in the big games, were they going to come on and stuck? Possibly. So will we. Already have. Not a problem. They will keep hammering the points away against those lower teams. What brings them down is if you get long-term injuries to the likes of Partey, Jesus, even players like Martinelli, anybody like that. Saliba, yeah. Or goalkeeper as well. If anybody like that goes down for any amount of weeks, months, wheels could well come off them. I think they will. But at the moment, for a first 11, they're easy top 4 material. Easy.
I mean, this is their next 5 fixtures, Kuva, right? Their next 5. I'm going to take out European games. They've got Leeds away on the weekend, then Southampton away, then Forest at home, then Chelsea away, and then Brighton at home. I'm going to ask you this question. If after those 5 games, will then be 14 games into the season, if after those 5 games they're still level or above Man City, at what point will Spurs fans start taking, I'm not saying all, but at what point will Spurs fans start actually going, hang on, they're good? Because at the moment, even look, Arsenal will fall soon. They are pretenders, okay? You know what I mean? Like, they've beaten Kuva. They've beaten better teams than we have this year. By far, they've beaten better teams than we have this year. So, where do you think they can finish this season? How high?
For me, again, it's down to injuries. If they stay relatively injury-free, I think they will probably get runners-up spot, best of the rest behind City. Mm-hmm. Pains me to say that, but I think they're playing great football, doing it well, riding their luck at times and getting away with it. Yeah, every team does that. You could say City have done that this season as well. But they're just full of goals. They've got attacking quality. They work as a team. They're well drilled in what they do. The way they're playing the game, the way their fullbacks will push up into that midfield area, allow the midfield to go and join the attack. They've got quality there, and quality and belief in themselves. And lots of those young players last season, although we were lamenting them and saying that, no, it's not the right word. Never mind. How much we're on their back saying, oh, they're going to fall away. They got no bottle. They learned from that. They come back this season when they put under pressure like Liverpool did to them. They come through it. All right. So some contentious decisions that happens in every game, doesn't it? Their quality. They're worth their wins. It pains me to say it, but they are looking like a proper football team this season.
I mean, still, they are looking like a proper football team. Is it helping them as well that, especially at this stage of the Europa League, unlike us in the Champions League, they're able to go into those games and they're able to rest 8. In the last game, they rested 8 players. I guess when we see their lineup tomorrow night, it will probably be, again, 8 players being rested. Is that a huge plus for them? Or do you think we're going to see that change as they get deeper into the tournament?
Yes, a plus now. Of course it is. I said how Newcastle are benefiting from not playing midweek. So if Arsenal can rest their players, it's the same applies. They're definitely in form. They've got good spirit at the stadium. There's a great atmosphere at the Arsenal right now. There's a togetherness in the club. They're all behind the manager. The players are together. It just reminds me of that second, third season under Poch, man. They've got that vibe that is so identical, very similar. Yeah. I think the only thing is, it's going to go one or two ways. Injuries will bite them in the arse because FA Cup, Carabao Cup, Europa Cup, it's going to be difficult, right? It's easy now. And it's how they cope with that. And if injuries do kick in, then they're fucked. Mm-hmm. But
couldn't we say that? Isn't that the same of all teams, right, Stel? Isn't that?
Yeah, it is. It is.
Other than, let's be honest, other than City, who can go like for like in most areas of the pitch, isn't that the same definitely for Spurs, definitely for, if Man United, for example, lose...
It depends, because if they lose Partey, in comes Lokonga. If we lose Højbjerg, in comes Bissouma. If we lose Kane, we've got Son and Richarlison. If they lose Jesus, it's straight to Nketiah. If they lose Gabriel, in comes what's his face? Ben White has to slip in. If we lose Dier, in comes Sanchez. So it's not that great, but he's proven. So I think overall we've got more cover in the key areas. This is where I think we do have the edge on them. But I remember the season Leicester City won the league, and everyone says, if Vardy gets injured, If Drinkwater gets injured, if Golo Kante, if none of them got injured,
and they didn't.
None of them.
Yeah.
And they went on that unbelievable run.
And still, the thing for me as well,
it's so difficult. It's so difficult.
I think the thing is as well, I think the longer this goes on, I remember after 3 or 4 games, it was, let's see what happens after the next 2 and then the next 2. And now, we're only 9 games in. And look, I'm not saying they're going to win the league in any way, shape or form. I think City will win it by, I always say a country mile, but isn't the key thing at the moment, the worry for the rest of us in that top 4 is it's their confidence that they're gaining. You can see it now that in games before where they would have collapsed, they keep going. And, they took the lead against Liverpool. Yeah. Liverpool clawed them back. They went on to win. They took the lead against Spurs. We clawed them back. They went on to win. And the more confidence they get, and if they win their next 3 or 4 of the next 5, those players are growing in confidence. And before you know it, they've sealed a top 4 spot. Now, I'm not saying definite. I'm just saying that's how football can go, right?
Not necessarily. I'll tell you why. I hear where you're going with it, though. I said it 1,000 billion times. This is a very strange season and expect the unexpected. By the end of this season, we're going to look at it and say, what the fuck just happened? I'm telling you, and I'm going to say it again, this is going to go down as one of the wildest seasons ever. All the teams that have got momentum now, let's say City and Arsenal have got all the momentum, especially Arsenal. The last thing you want is a 6-week break. That kills you. If you're Leicester City or Liverpool right now, you're praying for the World Cup. Bring it on. We need it. So I just think it's all going to come down to January, man. I think January is going to be the most pivotal part of the whole season. And it's whether they can pick up, and it's whether teams can use the World Cup as a restart, whether teams can pick up from where they started if they were on good form, and depending what injuries and fatigue happens in the World Cup, what clubs are able to go and get players in January. I just feel, look, they're doing everything they can right now to set themselves up to have the best chance out of anyone of getting a top 4 finish and maybe challenging for the title. That's what they're doing now. But it's too early to tell. It's too early to tell. And Savva, as fucking awful as we are to watch, mate, we're 4 points off a team we've just praised the hell out of. You can't make sense of it. You can't make sense of it.
I agree, and that's the thing. It's keeping in touch. And look, to be fair, we've got a night. So I don't want to be disrespectful to Everton, but let's be fair. If we are the team we think we are, we should beat Everton. But before we come to that, and that 15 minutes passed ages ago. Question, Kuva. Right. Greg Spurs has asked this, and this is always the interesting conversation. If Kane gets a bad injury, would we get top 4?
It's all relative to what happens to the other teams, isn't it?
Right.
If Kane gets a bad injury and not all the other teams are relatively unaffected or minor injuries, I think we're going to be struggling. I really do. Because I just think Chelsea are on the march again. Newcastle are, as Stel said before, slipped under the radar, but they're becoming more and more prominent now. That one loss, you have to look at that. Just one. They're hard to beat. Now the goals are flying in. They're a unit. Liverpool can't stay bad forever. They're surely going to get their act together. They've shown it at times they do it. Can they do it consistently? Possibly. I don't think it's going to happen, but it's always a risk. Then you look at those others. There's a lot of horses going for that top 4 that have got in with the shout this season. Probably more than ever, really, isn't it? I think with to Newcastle. And Kane's vital for us, isn't he?
Kuva, do you know what? I fucking hate the fact that we're discussing what we have to do to get top 4 as if top 4 is some kind of fucking achievement anymore. Honestly, look at what we've become as a club. Yeah, top 4. Why can't we change top 4 for FA Cup, league title,
Europe? Top 4, we get all the better players in, don't we?
It's just that is it, isn't it? Get top 4 and then what? Well, we can get it again next year and again next year.
I mean, just quickly. Noah saying Savva, we got top 4 without
Here we go
Kane
again.
and
Top 4.
Poch. I mean, I just want to make clear that we're going back a long time ago now. This is a very different Tottenham team. There's different teams around us. Everyone's different. So I'm not really sure that has too much bearing on it. Guys, just quickly, just to finish. I have to finish after this point. I need some sleep at some point. Everton Saturday. Again, another win keeps us right up there. Can you see any way in which we do not beat Everton? They've had a good run that was put to a swift end by Man United. They're a team that don't come out. They are not going to come out and play against us. That's not their game. If I've watched them enough this season, they will sit in and try and counter. And with Cody and Tarkowski, it looks like they've got a good defence there. By the way, they've got the best defence in the Premier League, just in case anyone wondered. The joint best defence in the league. Is there any way in which we don't beat them still?
Nah, we'll win. We'll beat them.
Yeah.
It'll be a fucking horrible game to watch because they're going to sit back. We don't know how to beat a low block. Probably a penalty. Scrappy bundled in corner in the 84th minute. They'll probably get a stupid red card as well. We'll beat Everton. We've won every single game at White Hart Lane this season. I think we'll carry it on. I don't think Everton, they might get close to getting a draw, but somehow we'll do it. Yeah. And then we'll be having lots and lots of shows saying how the football's shit, what a boring game. But guess what? We're now second in the league because one of the other two dropped points somehow. And it's going to be the same shit again, Savva. We'll beat Everton. I think we'll beat Everton. I do.
I mean, just quickly, before I ask you about that, Kuva, sorry, I should have mentioned on from this. This whole top 4 thing, I agree with Stel, right? This whole top 4 thing for me has kind of ruined football in a way because I don't think 4th should be seen as this kind of sexy milestone, right? Because you're not winning anything, right? But for most clubs, they get 4th and they go, we're in the Champions League. We're going to give this a go. For me, I'm at the stage now where, I want to finish top 4. But if we don't, I'm kind of like, well, we're still going to buy the same caliber of players anyway. Is 4th the be-all and end-all apart from for Daniel Levy's balance P&L? I mean, is it just we talk about Champions League nights, Cooper, right? Top 4 for Champions League. The Champions League, we're top of the group, but it's not like we've had great games, is it? What's top 4 for?
I could see that look in Cooper's eyes. I can't wait for this.
Well, it depends. It's not a trophy, is it? For me, right now, for this club, top 4 is there for the enjoyment. It's there to get in the Champions League. And I don't care about, we got an easy group to get out of. We're not going to win the bloody thing. I want to pick out the big teams. I want to see a night against Real Madrid, Barcelona, the Milans. Why bother looking for easy little draws like against Eintracht Frankfurt? That's what it's all about for me. Just enjoy it while it's there. We're not going to do anything. We're clearly not capable of winning it. So
no chance.
Why treat it as anything else? So it's not for success. It brings us nothing.
Is it for this?
Put that in your cabinet. Put that in the cabinet.
If they finish 5th, obviously, but I don't see them doing that this season, unfortunately.
I just wondered, guys, because look, I mean, the phrase "top 4," I mean, is possibly one of the most used phrases in amongst Premier League fans, right? And it's this comment here absolutely sums it up. It's they buy less quality when in the Champions League because their motivation for signing good players is solely to get back into it. And this for me is everything. That this is now the 3rd. Someone will correct me if I'm wrong. The 3rd different manager to get us in the Champions League. It must be Redknapp, Poch, Conte. This is now the 3rd different manager to get us in the Champions League. I think this is our, I want to say 6th time in the Champions League. Someone will correct me. And yet again, another time where you get in the Champions League and Champions League quality is not coming through the door. So you know, are we as football fans naive with this whole top four conversation all the time as Tottenham fans?
We're always sold it, aren't we? We're sold it as they'll be in the last. Wenger, bloody hell, what he said years back was so untrue. It's a trophy. Ironically, nowadays, because of the level of competition, it's an achievement that's you know, it takes some doing now, because look at this season. We're talking about 6 different teams for the 3 places behind City and that you know, that top 4. It's become now, it genuinely is difficult to finish that. But you don't put 4th place in a trophy cabinet, do you? You don't have it up on a poster behind you, like a number 4 or something. You know, what the hell's that about? It's there for the enjoyment. It's there for bragging rights. But ultimately, it's not doing any good for it. It's not enabling us to buy all these world-class players that we think we're going to get each season, and doesn't transpire. We'll end up with a couple of bargains, and then, the money's run out. Sorry.
Yeah, I agree with your point, Kuva. Sorry, Stel, just quickly before I put you in. I agree with your point. For me, I know we talk a lot about, we've got a lovely group, but I want to watch, getting into the Champions League, I want to watch the Messis. I'm going to call it White Hart Lane. I will never not call it that. I want to see the Messis at White Hart Lane. I want to see the Kimmiches, the Goretzkas. That, you know, I mean, I could name top players all day long. I don't want to just watch.
No, go on.
Every player
I'm an R-ing after about 15 seconds.
You know, I agree with you. And the thing is, the way we talk about Champions League, and I'm seeing people say, yeah, but it stops the Thursday, Sunday. But for me, I don't really care. You're still doing Wednesday, Saturday. It's the same amount of time. I don't really care about all that. I just don't. It doesn't feel as exciting this time in the Champions League. And I know probably people think I'm negative by that, but are you guys as excited?
No.
I felt under. I don't just mean the style of football. I meant like the euphoria around it when we had Redknapp in the Champions League, and when we had Barcelona come into Wembley and that kind. I just felt like it was exciting. This feels a bit Europa League-y. Is that because of the caliber of teams we're playing?
No, it's the caliber of players we've brought in, Savva. It's taken the gloss off of it for me. When we first got into Champions League, it was like euphoria. We've done something we never thought. And then when Poch got us in, we couldn't get out of the group stage. The following season, we got out of the group. The following season, quarterfinals, and then got to a final. There was a constant progression in the Champions League, and that kept the excitement. Now, it's been 2-3 years, we're out of it. We've got into it. We know what it's about. We know what it takes. And you see, you know, we make substitutions. On comes Bryan Gil. Yeah, on comes Lucas Moura. On comes Sanchez. You fucking know what's going. Yeah, you know what's going to happen. You know, Skip came on there. You know what's going to happen. And it's what you guys said earlier. We had Poch. He got us into the Champions League, and the last 2 seasons of Champions League, we didn't sign a single player. And then finally we said, all right, we'll back you now. You got us Champions League again. You got us to the final, actually. Here's Sessegnon and here's Lo Celso. It's like, fuck right off. Then Conte does the impossible, picks up an awful Nuno team, a diabolical, somehow gets us top 4. And we give him Spence, Lenglet, Richarlison. It's like, for fuck's sake. You know, how can you get excited? I think the only way we're going to get excited is if we get to the semi-final by some insane results, and then we'll get excited because we're going to sniff the final is close. Otherwise, up until that point, it's fucking shit.
I mean, I don't even think anybody can confidently say the likes of Bissouma was somebody that Conte wanted.
Kuva, I said this to Henry at the beginning of the stream, right? I said, we all talk about Spence not being a Conte signing, right? And we know that. I said to Henry, I question whether any, right? It's going to be controversial, whether any of them were Conte signings. Because when I look at it, Bissouma can't get in for love nor money, right? He's getting like a gratuitous 20 minutes here or there. Spence doesn't get anywhere near it. It feels like Lenglet's being used for Champions League games, but the moment Davies is fit, he's straight back in. Perisic,
Too old.
Champions League games where, right? And then you're looking at Richarlison. I feel like he's playing purely because Kulu is injured.
Crap. He was crap tonight. Absolutely.
When I look at that, I think look, again, this is something we'll never know the answer to, lads, right? This is purely speculation. I just look at all those signings and think, I don't think he wanted any of them. I feel they were the best he was offered, but not what he wanted, which is a huge difference. Is that harsh, or can you see an argument for that?
I've always had the same opinion on this. If you've got a director of football, for me, I'm trying to think of a good analogy. I wonder if the program was Ready, Steady, Cook. It's where you remember two celebrities turn up to this studio and they're going to cook something, and they brought a selection of random ingredients.
Ready, Steady, Cook.
Yeah, the chef has to make something out of it. That's what the director of football's doing for the manager. It's this selection. I'll try and make this out. What are you giving me? I can't use that, so I'm not going to use it. It'll stay on the shelf. And it's always been the same. Same under with Pochettino as well. How much was it they really players he wanted, and how much were players he said, well, okay, but it's not who I actually wanted. You could even make the argument: did we not sign anybody under those windows under Pochettino because he just said, look, I'm not being offered what I want. What's the point in getting anybody? That sort of argument does go through your head at times. For me, it is that relationship. What is the director of football for if he's not going out to get the players? So it works. Some managers love it. Some managers thrive on it. They prefer it that way. I think Conte's a bit like that. He just likes to get on with he wants to be on the training pitch, doesn't he? He just loves the game. He wants to constantly be there with the players. So I can imagine he's the same way, but he's going to reject a player. He won't play a player if he thinks they're crap. They're not getting in the team. If he thinks there's something missing, they're not getting in the team. It's
just there's not one of them that's gone in and stayed in. Do you know what I mean? That's the thing for me. If I look at most clubs that have bought in this window, the players I'm not saying every one of them, but at least a few of them have gone in straight into the 11, like Man United by way of example, straight into the 11, stay in there, make them better. It feels for me when I'm looking at all of the signings, it's almost like, all right, I'll give them a little outing here and a little run out there. But even then, Richarlison's not been played once from what I can remember in his, in his natural position. But Bissouma, I don't know. We were all wetting ourselves about Bissouma in summer.
Even Perisic, you'd look at him. What did Conte said it in a press conference? He's not the same player I remember. I
get the feeling that they've turned around and gone, here's some easy deals we can do. Do you want them? And I maintain this from the beginning. And guys, I've said this a million times. Other than Richarlison at 60 million, every one of those deals was easy to do. Every single one of them. Even Bissouma, we got him with a year left on his contract at 25 million, whatever.
Here's the big one for me, Bissouma. If he had been 50 million, would we have signed him?
No, we wouldn't have.
What's the key factor then? Price.
Absolutely. Just quickly, by the way, sorry, part after party. I love that you're always in my shows, but I don't buy into this either, guys. This doing business in January is difficult. Top teams go and get what they need and get it done.
He's on a wind up. He's on a wind up.
I think he is. Look, guys, I'm seeing lots of stuff in the chat about people have written off Richarlison in season 1 compared to when people wrote Son off. I think the difference is there is Son was new coming to the league and we didn't really know what he was. Richarlison's not new to the league at all, and we know he's a centre forward. And is he ever going to get that? Is he ever going to get a run of games at centre forward without Harry Kane picking up an injury? So all in all, guys, how would you say any of them are his signings? Going back to the original question, and what I mean by his signings, I don't mean that he green lighted them, that he turned around and went, "Go get me him." I don't think any of them, other than Adoji.
I think again, it's director of football. He's offering a menu, so I think he's probably picking some off there that he wants. How many do we know of? I mean,
Kuva, do you know what my issue is with this? Why is Conte still here? Like, and I've asked this before. Is it just because of the money? Is he literally prepared to just stick it out for the 20 million and then piss off?
It's a lot of money.
Yeah, but does he need that money? Does he really need that money to put his reputation on the line and end up not doing well?
Maybe it's the challenge, isn't it? Because nobody expects us to do anything. Perhaps that'll be the big fingers up to Chelsea if he gets us winning things and they're not.
So can I ask then, guys?
But surely he knows that he can't with these players. Surely he knows they're just not.
Well, that's it. Maybe he's had the wool pulled over his eyes with Levy as well.
So why is he still here then? It goes back to the question. So why is he still here then? If he's had the wool pulled over his eyes, why is he still here?
You tell me.
Unless there's no jobs out there for him.
Could be. Might be waiting for Juventus. Maybe there is rumours he patched it up with the owners, isn't there? Because they had a big fallout, big public fallout, and then there was a report about that they really repaired that broken bridge. So perhaps that is it. He's biding his time. Nice paycheck. Try and leave this club in a good state. He can add it to his CV. Him getting top four with us last season, that's a big positive on his CV. Because we were shit, as you said earlier, Stel. Absolutely shambolic when he took over. So that is a big positive. If he does it again this season, he can walk away saying, "There you go. I've satisfied the chairman's remit. We've made top four twice running."
Could this be a thing, Kuva? Like Reload XXX has said he could be here biding his time until something better opens up. His reputation isn't on the line because of circumstances. So for me, and I must go to bed, for me, if he finishes second or third, or we're in a title race and just narrowly miss out, I don't think will happen, but who knows? At that point, surely we then have to have a summer where the owners go, we've seen what you can do. There's 400 million. And I'm not talking about 20 players with it. There's 400 million. Go and buy 5 top players. Is it happening?
No.
But
never.
Otherwise, guys, my question is, what's the point to all this? What's the point of the world-class manager if we get to the next summer and it's the same as this window? Are we just going to keep saying, okay, well, we're going to have to play this way because he wasn't backed, and then we're going to rely on miracles?
I'll tell you why. It's to stop Brian Daigle kicking the door off his hinges to his office.
Brian Daigle, brilliant. Guys, on a serious note, I am going to leave it there. I've been streaming for 5.5 hours now. My voice is going even sexier and croakier than normal. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you to everyone in the chat. I've seen some of the people have been in here with me and Henry since 7:30. So thank you very much. It all shows we've all got absolutely nothing else in our lives other than to talk about football. Stel, thanks for coming on, mate. Good chat as always.
Cool, man.
Kuva, thanks for coming on and for being the Nostradamus you are and predicting Liverpool not in the top 4.
Well, no, I can't say it's like, earth-shattering prediction. Quite a few people said the same thing. Quite a lot of people said it.
That's true. That's true. I am admitting I'm wrong unless they surge up the table and finish second, which I will quite quickly turn around and go, I told you so. But I don't think it's going to happen. Guys, listen, much love. I'm going to... When can people see you next, Stel? When are you streaming?
Friday. Iggy tomorrow morning, and then Friday we do our Friday night show with the Americans, Canadians, South Americans, and they all have their say. And Scott M is always on fire, and everyone hates everything Scott M says. But listen, he sticks to what he says. He's a man of his convictions. People need to appreciate that, I think.
Yeah, I mean, even to this dying minute at 1:08 in the morning, Scott M is Richarlison's had a whole mediocre career at Everton to look as well, but maybe miraculously he takes a huge leap forward. That is usually what happens. I love he's having a row with someone about Richarlison's first season versus Sons.
See, I don't mind this about Scott. As Stel said, he sticks to his guns.
Scott
like just doesn't put up with bullshit. He wants the very best for Spurs at all times, and he will be critical of anything that isn't.
I agree. I mean, the only thing is, Scott is so much in love with Pochettino that it makes me laugh. I'm just joking, Scott. I'm just joking. Right, guys, before he gets a chance to send me some abuse, we are going to go, as always, come on, you Spurs, and Enoch and Levy, get out of our club.